And we're live. Luke Getsy. How do you feel about him? Is there not enough info yet? Are you a huge fan? Are you a hater? I don't know why you would be, but I think Luke Getsy is possibly the X factor to this team this year. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute because Kitty is back. So, Kitty, let's kick this shit off.
Bears country. Where is it?
You down with BCP? You down with BCP?
You down with BCP?
You down with BCP?
You down with BCP?
You down with BCP?
You down with BCP?
You down with BCP?
You know, Chris Watts pointed out to me on our last show that I looked really white dancing to this. So, like, PJ, how do I not look so white dancing to this? Because I love this song. And
Cut off all your lights.
Good answer.
I love it. Kitty, it is amazing to have you back, my dear. You are what makes this show go. You have always been what makes it go. I'm excited to see what you're going to bring moving forward because it's so great to have you back. So I love you, my dear, and thank you for coming back. There's going to be some strict guidelines. If we screw this up, we'll lose Kitty, and we don't want to do that. So
I know you don't.
I definitely do not. Definitely do not. Guys, how are you doing this Thursday evening? Foster, PJ, J2K, you're getting ready to do your own thing soon. So this might be your last night on the show. It's great to have all you guys on, man. I should say, my co-hosts, PJ and Foster, and J2K. You're not my co-host, but you are on your final show before your adventure.
He's a co-host till whenever.
But I'll be around. I'll be in the chat.
You've been around with BCP since almost day one, J2K. So that's why it almost being your last show for a little while, you had to be a part of it as the entire show. I could not do that, so Foster and PJ, man, it is great to see you guys again. How are you doing, man?
It's good to be seen, man. Just been a kind of a rough week. Things breaking constantly and not going so good. Be nice to sit here and talk to you guys about something other than the crap that's going on in my life.
It's always nice to hang out and talk Bears, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So tonight's center of attention, as we're calling it now, is based on Luke Getsy. I think there's a lot that we can add to this conversation about this, and it might, but tonight we're kind of restructuring the show. So we're going to have on our first guest, Dan Aguire, is coming on at 9:30, and then we're just going to have some chat time, and then we have a new guest from chat. Bryan Gilmore is going to join us at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the final hour of the show from 11 to 12 p.m. We're trying to keep this 3 hours. We don't want to lose Kitty. That will be the shoot the shit time. And that's where we're just going to hang out, talk Bears. We'll talk about Cliff's meatloafs and all that kind of shit. So, Kitty, let's round up this. You got something to say?
Yeah, I just want to say welcome, Cliff, Mr. Mayhem, Doug, Don Burr. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be responding to you guys in chat tonight. So thanks again for joining us, guys. And thank you, Kitty, for being in the background.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kitty. I mean, that's well said, PJ, because we're going to try to be a lot more chat centric tonight, especially when we have our guests on. That's definitely going to be chat-centric time. So, guys, get your questions ready because Kitty will be starring them. She'll be keeping those questions for our guests and for us, if you want. And we're really gonna try to focus on that tonight. So, let's just start off with the first segment, center of attention. This is the main subject. So, Kitty, roll that up. Luke Getsy. Love him or hate him.
What order are we going to go in, guys?
Why don't we switch this way? We're gonna go with you next, BJ. I mean, love him or hate him. Listen, people love him and people hate him, and there's everyone in between, right? And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't dote on him, considering what he's had to deal with and what the players that he had on his team and how he kind of managed the offense throughout the season. So go ahead, PJ.
All right, my first impressions of him, I was optimistic or pessimistic because he never called plays before. I think while he was in Green Bay, he never called plays. He left Green Bay, went to a college to be an offensive coordinator, I believe. But while in that college, the head coach called plays. So he didn't call plays then. So I thought his first year here was kind of like trying to figure out how to game plan, how to call plays, and manage a young quarterback. I thought he had a lot on his plate. So all things considered, I thought he did really well considering. I mean, yeah, he had some bumps in the road, but taking all those things in consideration, I think he did pretty well.
Foster?
I like this guy from day one. I was a little nervous about the same thing, PJ, that he hasn't been able to call his own plays and put them into action. Last year he did that. We didn't quite have much for the guy to work with, but I think he a lot of those games he made some good adjustments in the games, late in the game or halftime adjustments. So I was happy with that, man. I think we might have found somebody to fill this position because I'm going to be really optimistic. Call me a homer again, man. I just like the guy the way he works with the people in his offense. He seems to be like a kind of hands-on, like a player's offensive, like a player's coach.
Mm-hmm.
So time's going to tell. We all know that. But look, now he's got something to work with, guys. He's got a lot more to work with than he had last year, man. I can't thinking back. I can't imagine how hard that must have been on him. Going, crap,
yeah.
What do I got to work with? I got Justin Fields and some ragtag and a guy here and a guy there. So I don't know how we could not be on the up offensively. I don't know how we could not.
J2K, I know you've got a lot to say.
Break it down.
But I feel like I should go first before you shower us with what excellent knowledge about what I know you're about to say. But like I agree with what you were both saying. It's like in the beginning we were all kind of worried about what we were seeing there in the play calling. We were like, what's going on here? There was a few games we lost, right? Because you look at the Commanders game, what was it, 3-4 goal line stances, 1 or 2 against the Packers, couldn't score a single. One of them was like a shotgun running back or shotgun quarterback sneak. I mean, so we were kind of questioning him at that point, weren't we? And I think that once he started to get into his groove and he realized the weapon that he had in Justin, and that it was taking a little bit of time for everyone to learn the offense, including Justin, the best thing to do was just to put him in the best position that he could possibly put him in, right? J2K?
Yes, I agree. And I'm actually very optimistic on Getsy. Foster brought up the halftime adjustments, which I also agree with. And the stat that I've seen is that we had the second best scoring offense on our first drive, just under the Eagles, and just under them by 6 points, which is really impressive. And I think what that shows is with the first drive and halftime adjustments is when Getsy has time to scheme, he does a really amazing job. I think once defenses started countering him, he didn't really have a plan B just because of the talent issue. Mm-hmm. So given DJ Moore added to this offense, I think a much better running back room, better tight end room, a better offensive line. And we can dive all into that tonight. I'm very optimistic about Getsy. And one thing I did want to say was Getsy's been the same guy, regardless of wins or losses or, issues with Fields having maybe not the best game, or just even that Washington game when we got down to the goal line multiple times and we just couldn't punch it in. And I think we lost scoring only 13 points, but I think we could have scored a good 3 touchdowns. And I give that to credit to Getsy. And it was a failure on the players not making the plays, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. This is for a 3-13 team.
14.
Or sorry, 3-14 team. My mind doesn't feel that way. It never has. I was, doing something for the show today, and it just came to my attention again that they were 3-14. It's like, holy shit, that's right. This has got to be the best 3-14 team I've ever seen, because there were so many games we could have easily won. Yeah. So that's a testament to Getsy, right?
Yeah, I think, honestly, we all touched on it. The lack of talent and the lack of protection. I think that's going to be vastly improved with the weapons we got and the protection we got this year. I think we're going to see a big improvement on that alone. So therefore, even with our rushing attempts, although you guys know I love Montgomery, but I think with this group of guys we got, we're going to be just fine. I really do.
Guys, let's get to some chat questions here. Kitty, I started a few of them for you because these are some good points that they're bringing up. Chips Ahoy Boy says Fields was sacked 57 times, so the best idea for Fields was to run the ball. Dude ran for his life at some point. Don't want to see Fields lead this team in rushing ever again. Well, I think that, in my opinion, that's why they went to him running the ball, was because he was getting sacked so many times.
Well, I would say this. I would say a lot of his runs came from his scrambling. It wasn't like necessarily a design run. It's just that he didn't have nobody open and he just broke and took off. So I agree, though. I agree with you 100%, Chips Ahoy, that I don't want to see Fields lead this team in the rushing again. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not. What's that?
No, thank you, man.
What's that second question, Kitty? Cliff Victoria, rumor is Claypool ran the wrong route on 2 interceptions. Other players were messing up too. Very true. Very true. Did he lose his confidence in the play wasn't there to where he was supposed to throw the ball? So then it broke down, so he was running?
I think the protection broke down. Go ahead, Foster. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. There's just so many reasons. It's multiple reasons. It's not just one. Bad protection. Not trusting the receivers to get the ball because they're running wrong routes. So how many guys on this team, on that offense, knew the system offense, had a pretty good idea of it? How many? I think like 2 or 3, and that's it.
Right.
And you're talking Patrick, who wasn't on the field. Equinemius St. Brown, that's 2. Who else really? I don't know. I'm actually asking you guys. Who else had a grasp of his offense? Probably nobody.
Yeah. Because
it's Getsy's style of that particular offense. So it's multiple reasons. The line, not trusting it. I've got 1.7 seconds to decide what I'm going to do. That's got to be insanely tough. There's just multiple reasons. It ain't just one. What do you think, J2K?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think we saw a lot of miscommunications by him and Mooney early in the season. And I think you also saw Fields kind of stared down Mooney, waiting for him to break open in the route, and at times not get open because he was in fact bracketed, and Fields taking the sack as a byproduct of it. And I agree with you, PJ, about, a lot of Fields' runs were off of 3 wide receiver sets where it wasn't a run play, it was a pass play, which we can get into it a little bit more, which is why I kind of favor 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, over a 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, just because it really opens up the field laterally, deep, and gives that space for Fields that if everything is covered or they call a good defensive play, that he's got space to run in.
What there's something to be said about the 2 tight end formation, though.
I agree.
Because you never know what direction it's going in. That's why I wanted Washington so bad. Darnell Washington.
Well, we have Tanya, who's going to be the move tight end. And we've got Komet, who can kind of be both the inline and the move. So I do think we're going to run a lot of 12 personnel. I think 11 and 12 is going to be our base package. And I just lean a little more to the 11 because I think Fields just has the talent to break off a 50, 60, 70-yard touchdown run at any moment.
Cliff Victoria says here, what do you guys think Getsy's going to do differently this year? I think that's the answer to that. I think that they might be running more 12 personnel.
I think. Oh, you go, PJ. We'll go around the horn with that one. It's a good question.
Well, I wasn't going to address that until we got into a little bit of breakdown of the different rooms.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
My quick answer is that I think we're going to see a little bit different running plays. So I think we're a base wide zone scheme, but I think we're going to start to see a little more of those wham blocks and power plays. So that's my intuition. Let's just call it that.
Mine too.
I kind of agree with you, J2. My only other thought was that if the line starts performing better, we might see some more pocket passing later in the season. It just, again, there's too many factors kind of to which way they could go with this offense. But we probably are going to see more 12 personnel just because we have more personnel. So
right.
Better personnel,
And they might just start putting that new rookie running back out there right off the bat, right? He could be. We talked about started by week 6. He could be started by week 1. Who knows how he impresses them in training camp? Because Khalil's not a number 1, right? He's too. No. He's not. He can't block.
He needs to be able to block and catch passes better, man.
Well, I don't know if he's been given a chance to catch passes or not, so I can't say he can't catch as of yet. I'm not saying he can. I just haven't seen whether or not he can do it.
I get you, PJ. I look at his college. I don't know how much pass catching he did in college. Even now that I'm thinking back, I don't remember.
Right.
So it depends. We're going to find out a real lot about some of these guys this season, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I remember him dropping some passes, and I remember him catching some nice passes. They were good. He should have caught them.
Well, inconsistencies, and I got a feeling Roshan's just going to be Mr. Consistent with everything he does. Just look at the guy, man. I mean,
I kind of get that feeling too.
Yeah.
Well, transitioning
by week 6 or 7, he will be our 3-down back. I don't know care what we have or what anybody says. If the guy is what it appears, you can't even doubt that statement. Okay, maybe not week 6 or 7, but at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Transitioning real quick into the running back room in relation to Getsy, I think that with Deontay Foreman, as well Ebner, whether or not he makes the team, though, as well as Herbert, those guys are really fast. I think they all ran like 4.4 or something. So I think what we're seeing from what Getsy is doing there, having this speed at running back to where you can make that one cut and go, something that David Montgomery didn't have was a lot of speed. Although I think Roshan Johnson ran a 4.57, so I don't know how his speed is going to translate. I heard there was some reasons for him running that 4.57, but I think that's something that's something that Getsy is going to bring, or should I say spotlight, is the speed of our running backs.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that. It's the 40 time is all about how quickly you get off the ball. After that, he runs what, a 22 mile an hour top end speed.
Yeah,
I'll take
fast.
that.
That's pretty fast.
And he's aggressive. If he builds up some steam, he's got the power to give it back to you. You know.
Yeah.
Not to compare him to Peyton, but that's what Peyton did. He played offensively more than he did. He was offensive, you know.
Yeah.
Not defense. He was playing offense. Right. He was giving it to you.
Right.
And I'm excited to see Roshan. I think he's going to add some of that quality to this running back room. Monty could give it to you, but he didn't have that speed.
Yeah, he didn't have the speed to get away from you per se.
Yeah, and to add to the running back room conversation, I think looking at Foreman and Roshan, I think those are going to be our two power backs. And we're going to have Herbert and Homer as our change of pace backs. Now, I think that Foreman's going to get the shot at the starting position as far as the power back is concerned. I think Roshan's got to learn the offense. Plus, he's a really valuable special teamer. So I think he's going to get plenty of snaps in that regard. Herbert, he's got the best breakaway speed on the team. I think Homer's going to be a little more of that special teams guy as well. But I see a lot of rotation. So I know we talk a lot about who's going to be the starter, and we see Roshan being this complete back. And I think at some point this season we may see Roshan literally start the game. But I really do think we're going to be heavy power, not power scheme necessarily, but heavy power running backs early in the game. And you run over them until they get tired and worn out, and then you run around them.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Let me say something real quick about the wide receivers before our first guest comes on. I know that our receivers, kind of like our running backs, I think all our receivers, our top 7 receivers, are all 4.4 or 4.3 guys. They are fast, speed. I mean, and that's something, again, that I think Getsy has wanted to bring in. Now he has that. So our offense is going to be, just a lot different. Kind of, I don't want to say it's going to be exactly like Kansas City, but I remember Kansas City having super fast guys themselves. I know they run a different offense than what we do, but they got those fast guys, and I think that's where we're going to be at, having a lot of fast guys.
I love the speed that we added to this team. That was one of the biggest things I wanted, was speed added to this team, and we've seen it both in the draft and in free agency. It's going to be fun to watch. I know that much. We have our should we bring on our first guest here now? A couple minutes earlier. Let's get him involved in the conversation.
Can I say one thing?
Please do.
I just want to do this because I usually do this in the chat all the time. So fuck you, Don Burr. Have a good night, buddy. Usually what I do to him in the chat anyways. I talk with them all night and then say everything's cool. Been doing it for years. Bring him on.
Oh, man.
I want to say, give a shout out to the guys in the chat. Squeegee, Cliff, Doug, Don. Thanks for being in the chat. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely,
man. Absolutely. Always great to see you guys.
They're awesome.
Doug, we got to get you on the show, man. And Don. And Squeegee. Everyone. Send us an email. Join the show.
Get Chips back in here too, man. I like that guy.
Let me say something to Don Burr real quick. Don Burr. I mean, because I don't get off in the whole back and forth with him, but I will say this: I remember Don Burr saying that his running backs was better than Monty when we had Monty. Now I'm seeing him talk about how good Monty is. Come on, Don Burr. Only thing I'm saying, can you please be consistent? That's all I ask.
You tell him, PJ.
Oh man. Well, let's bring on Dan Aguire from the Barroom Network. Dan Aguire, what do you think about Don Burr?
Don Burr can go fuck him. No, I have no heat with Don Burr. It is funny that he spends so much time with the Bears fans, though. There's no way I would do this with a Lions podcast or a Green Bay podcast or even a Vikings for that matter. So it always befuddles me. Like, is he an in the closet Bears fan?
Me too. It makes you wonder.
His name backward is Burr Dawn. Bear down. Bear down, Burr Dawn.
or rub nod. He likes to rub his nod.
I've actually followed Don around in the Lions chats, guys. I don't know if I've told you this. Ask him. I followed around. He's like, "What the hell are you doing here? How you're a subscriber?" I'm like, "I am today, Don, just to fuck with you." Serious. Ask him, man. He'll tell you.
So Dan, how you doing tonight, man? Thanks for coming back on tonight.
Like I said, last week was weird. I was working the deals out with Ron on those tickets. He wanted some old games from me, but it's going to be a massive project. Like again, not complaining because he's hooking me up with tickets, so it's a fair deal. But he wants 80 games, 80. So, and I have to do those in real time. So it's going to be a while, which it's a pleasure to do, and I think is a fair trade. But it's a lot of shit to get done. But again, a fair trade on for those Raiders tickets.
Wow. 80 games?
He wants the 01 season complete. He wants the 06 season complete. And then every game I have from 86, 88, 90, and 97, and 91 complete. So there you go.
I guess time is money, right?
Yeah, I gotta get brakes worked on tomorrow too. That blows ass. But beyond that, I'm happy.
Make a bunch of extra copy those, Dan.
Yeah, I got to do them in real time. I can't do them on a computer. So like, if the game lasts 3 hours, it's 3 hours to record it. So it's just kind of like I started out with Super Bowl 41, and right now when I left at the house, the 06 championship game with New Orleans is recording. I don't even want to watch those anymore. Like, the Super Bowl is so disappointing for me that I've seen it like 5 times. I don't think I'll ever watch it again except for Devin Hester.
I know, that's the best part, right? Even like the first quarter is fun to watch.
We're up 14-6. It's like, hey, this is a team of destiny. We're gonna win it all, and then the rain just kept coming.
Yeah, it's an absolute monsoon.
A monsoon on my heart. That's what it was.
Yeah. Here I'm thinking, we're gonna win this game because Peyton Manning doesn't play well in big games, and this is also really shitty weather. Nope, that sucks, man. It's just what a heartbreak that game was.
Devastating.
So Dan, we were just kind of talking about Luke Getsy and the offense, and kind of where we were going this last year as opposed to going into this year. Some chat questions were posed. What's going to be different? What are we going to see from Getsy that's different this year? Like, how do you feel about Getsy? I know you're not a big fan of Alan Williams.
No, Luke Getsy worried me a little bit last year because it seemed that his situational awareness was something that a layman like myself could question. Like, for example, I think I brought this up last week in the game you were at in Atlanta. If Justin Fields is on the sidelines with a cramp and he's getting a massage and like trying to look at the playbook and getting worked on the sidelines, why is it when as soon as you go back into the game, the first play he gets back in there, the man he's cramping up and can barely walk, you call a quarterback run off left tackle. It's like, dude, know your room. If your guy's hurt, you've got, I saw someone mention Ebner, not him, but you've got David Montgomery and the kid from Virginia Tech, Herbert. Just hand him the ball. Like, wait till he's ready again. I mean.
Yeah, I thought that same thing on that play. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, what? Why are you running Justin Fields on that?
Exactly. It's just, I feel like his play calling, it's like he's not aware of all the little variables that are happening. Who's hurt? Who's in the game? He just fucking calls shit. Not as bad as Matt Nagy, but in a certain sense. And don't be mad at me. I've got to answer the radio station door, so I'll be right here. It is a business. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfectly awesome. That's he's at work, man. So what are you gonna do? That's why he sounds like he's at work. Sounds like we're listening to a radio station when he talks.
Well, with that game that you guys that we were talking about was you don't know what's going on in the guy's head. You don't know what Eberflus is telling him. He's like, oh, because we were talking about the tanking. I mean, we just don't know what was going on with that stuff. I agree. I mean, I think everybody said when he called Justin Fields' run, everybody went, "What the heck, man?"
Yeah, but even with tanking,
everybody I know did.
Well, with tanking though, I don't think you're going to put your QB at risk,
Right.
and that's what I was concerned about, because I was like, he is kind of hurt now. You got him running the ball. Yeah,
Never had him running the ball on that play. Never, never. Just
on that specific play, that did look like a called quarterback run. But a lot of other plays may have been Fields checking into a QB run, just to play a little devil's advocate.
That's true. Yeah. But I hope that he didn't do that. I hope he didn't do that in that Falcons game, because I remember it well. I was there. We were so sure they were going to win that game. We were walking to the stadium and we looked down over this ravine, like the bridge we were on, down into a parking lot, and it was a sea of Bears fans having a tailgate party. And we were just cheering with them, and there was so many Bears fans there. We were certain we were going to win that game. And I think the title to that next show was, "How do we lose to the Falcons?" Because it was an automatic win for me.
Right.
So him to come back in after that injury and then run the ball again was very upsetting to me.
I agree.
All right, I'm back, gentlemen. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Good point, Cliff.
Now, we were just talking about how upsetting that was that they brought him back in after he ran the ball and got injured, and he ran the ball again.
Yeah, that's what bothers me. He has no situational awareness, and it feels like at times he gets in love with the same call. Like I've said this before, so it's not like I'm saying something that's like, oh yeah, this is the most poignant shit anyone's ever said. But that bubble screen to Mooney, it's like every time it comes, you're like, oh no, and everyone can see it. It never works, but he continually calls it. So I'm not very high on Getsy as a play caller. Having said that, maybe it was year one, and you learn, you live, you learn, and then you gain from experience, right?
My question to you is, Dan, is because it was his first year ever calling plays, because it was him trying to figure out what works best for Justin Fields, because we had horrible protection, and because we had guys who were not the best talent-wise, do you give Getsy a pass, or do you think that, well, he already showed who he is?
Well, context matters, and there's no doubting that. So everything you're asking is certainly valid points. But all in all, if this were a course in college, if you took all of it together, he gets a C at best, because he does get some credit for being on a team that won 3 games and things like that, with the struggling offensive line and inability for the defense to get off the field, and there's always a pressure to score points, etc. All this matters, but still, it's not like he helped things either with some of those play calls. And when we as fans can sit on the couch and watch and see what's coming, how do you think the defensive coordinator from the other team feels? Like, oh, here comes the bubble screen. We've seen this every fucking game like 5 times. Yeah, pounce on it. It's not like it ever works. It never gains like, oh, that was 12 yards. That's 11 yards. It's always incomplete or minus 2 yards, and we continually run it. And if someone can explain to me why, I'd love to hear it.
But
I was just going to ask you, do you think they were just trying to work on that because it never worked? Maybe they were like, we need this to work to set up something else. And if this play doesn't work, we're not going to be able to get to that next play that we're trying to set this up for, maybe?
I can't explain it. I mean, there's nothing that it seemed like it wasn't leading to anything to me.
Yeah.
Well, what do you make of the fact that second to Philadelphia? I'm stealing this from J2K, by the way. Second to Philadelphia, we led the league, or we were second in the league in first drive scoring points. So I think that's a credit to Getsy. What do you feel about that, though? I mean, where's your stance at on that? I guess.
I mean, that's great if you can come out and script the first 15 plays and score off of that. I'll take that every week because it felt like under Matt Nagy we didn't score ever in the first half. It was always like 3 points or 7 at best. So yeah, again, that's a good point. But the rest of the game has to ensue as well. And if you're not scoring at all, like the rest of the way, you're not winning. I'm not saying we're never scoring because there were games like Miami, we lost 35-32. But just the play calling in itself felt like maybe he was in over his head at times. I mean, it wasn't just me saying that. I remember hearing like Dan Hampton and them suggesting that he should be fired, like in the middle of last season. Ed O'Branovich and them, they were like, "Get this bum out of here." So it wasn't just me saying it,
Absolutely. You know what, Dan? No, Cliff brought this up in the chat. The guy, that was his rookie season, man. PJ mentioned it. That was his rookie season. I got to give him a little slack. And my biggest thing is, if I'm sitting there and I'm him and I'm in this situation, I'm like, man, who the hell can I get the ball to? Justin's the best weapon I got. Anybody who was decent, they take out immediately. So I mean, think about it from that perspective. Think about it from his spot. Who might, I can't have him pass the EQ because he's bad on the brakes. Even if he gets separation, he's bad on the brakes. There was 3 balls that were picked off that EQ was late on the brake for it. So I mean, what weapons who could he go to besides like Monty and Herbert? Think about it. I'm just saying. I mean, I try and look at it from all aspects because you got to point out the negatives and the positives.
I have a question for you, Dan. One of the things that makes the Rams offense work so well is they were able to disguise kind of what the play was because they ran a lot of like 2 tight end set where you can't really tell what the strong or weak side is.
Right.
So what if they went like if you start to see more of that now with Tanyan, is that something that that?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I want to agree with Foster. By the way, it does. You got to point out the positives and the negatives. I'm not trying to just pile on. I know it was his first season, and you're right. With wide receivers struggling, like St. Brown to catch the ball or Pettis to catch the ball, and Pringle's never healthy. It's just, I get it. There was just the whole thing. It just together was average at best, though. But to answer your question, Dan, the strength of the Rams when they were doing well, this is with Jared Goff or even certainly with Stafford when they won the Super Bowl, is that they pop that end around on you out of the same formation where you're going to see, a quick screen or a draw, and you kind of didn't know what was coming. Like you said, they could disguise it well to where they ran multiple plays out of the same formation. So everything wasn't obvious. You couldn't just sit and watch and say, okay, I know what's coming. And they always used misdirection on you too. The Joe Gibbs Redskins teams did that shit a lot too, where they'd run that counter trade with Riggins, but they had all those little zigzag gadget plays with Gary Clark and Art Monk, but all of it worked because it just had fluidity. And it just seems like a lot of times we're just running plays just to run plays, like we're playing Madden. Like the plays don't have synergy. The Rams plays had synergy.
I would disagree with you on that, Dan. I think when we were under Nagy, I think it was more running plays, kind of what Doug Van Dorn was saying there, that Nagy's play calling was kind of predictable, rush, pass, whereas Getsy, I thought his was more of his first time doing it. He's trying to get his feet wet, trying to figure out what he can do, what Justin's limitations are, while at the same time finding out who his weapons are and trying to provide protection for. I thought he had all these things going on, whereas I think it'll get better in the second year, but as opposed to when Nagy, and it seemed like Nagy was just like, oh, I'm this beautiful mind, and I want to draw on a chalkboard how many different plays I can come up with. So I think he was more like that, unlike what Getsy was in my opinion.
I have some pushback on that because Nagy was actually the opposite of that. He wasn't rush, pass. He was pass, rush. Like he would start off the game with 2 passes in a row and then run the ball. Like, what the fuck are we looking at right now?
But it seemed like to Dan's point though, seemed like under Nagy it was more of like just throwing plays out there as opposed to actually having a game plan.
Yeah. And you don't think there's a game plan here?
That's too strong for me to say that there's no game plan.
I mean,
just
like,
don't know if the game plan is good.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that think that they were tanking, right?
Truth.
So it's hard almost to argue with that with some of the play calling that you're describing, right, Dan?
Yeah, it was the Buffalo game. So what was that, Christmas Eve? You're playing the team that was favored in so many circles to not only go to the Super Bowl, but to win it. Of course, they were beaten badly at home by Cincinnati. But at the time, you thought this is a Super Bowl caliber team, and they had 2 opportunities where they got the ball in the red zone. Like the Bears are in the Buffalo 20. I forget what happened, and then Buffalo gets picked off. Josh Allen gets intercepted. Then we get the ball right back at the 20. We had 2 possessions from the 20 in, and none of the times, like the 6 plays or whatever we ran in the red zone, not one pass. So it's like you didn't even take a shot in the end zone. Mm-hmm. It's just run. And you're playing a team that, again, was perceived to be Super Bowl ready. And if you're massive underdogs, as the Bears were, then why not fucking try to win it? You know, I mean, if you get these shots, you throw it in the end zone. If Fields is picked off, then so be it. You're going to lose to the team you're supposed to lose to anyway. But why not try to beat them? The way they did against Philadelphia. They played wide open against the Eagles, and they almost won. But they played so conservatively at other instances that it was just maddening. It's like you said, they had the training wheels on, and we don't really want to win here, guys. I mean, come on now.
But honestly, I think you're right, Dan. I think they were tanking. I mean, and a part of me was okay with that.
As long as they didn't get Justin Fields killed.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, a part of me was okay with that because at that point, winning, I know you want to build a winning culture. However, me building a winning culture, I can still do that. I'm trying to also get this first overall pick. So I was okay with it. I mean, I see your point though, man. I agree with you. I think, he could have done certain things that could have helped win us certain games, but I was okay with losing it in retrospect. Yeah, of course, at the time you're like, I always want my Bears to win, but if I can get this first round pick or this first overall pick and then flip it, I'm kind of liking that too.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted last year, the way we ran Greg Olsen, we would split him outside and basically post him up and run a fade route with him in the end zone. I'd love to see some of that with Cole Kmet, because Kmet, I was a big detractor of his. You saw that catch in Atlanta that he had was just amazing. So why not get a mismatch on him in the end zone and just throw it up, man? He's a big guy, and now you got Tongan from Green Bay. I hope they do that. It feels like they don't look to exploit matchups. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, we got to have St. Brown in because, he can't catch it all. And, maybe he'll block somebody. And it's just like, we'll bring Pettis in because maybe he can be a punt returner. And then we've got our 3rd-round pick last year who can't do anything, but we're going to have him active. And it's just like suddenly you have nobody to catch the ball anyway.
Yeah.
It's hopefully they don't play that game this year. Hopefully everybody that's got hands is fucking active.
It seems like, they Mooney got injured, and they brought in Claypool. Mooney got injured, then they were down Mooney, who was their best receiver, and then they're trying to get Claypool up to speed, and it just kind of seemed like, fuck, what do we have to work with here now? You could see it happening in real time in the season. It's like, damn, I don't even have an answer for that either. So
Velus Jones had that one impressive catch late in the year. Again, I think it was against Philly. It may have been against Buffalo. It's one of those last 2 games at Soldier Field there. But every other catch he had, he almost dropped. And it felt like every return he had, he nearly fumbled if he didn't fumble.
Right.
It's just like this guy, man, if he doesn't take a big leap, they've already drafted, it seems like, his replacement anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut. And even though he's a 3rd round, He's, they're not going to want to admit mistakes, but his play on the field was jarringly bad last season.
So Dan, how we're kind of reformatting the show here is now, like, you are the main guest of the show right now. So
thank you.
We want to have you're welcome.
I've got the best cock too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just
We're here to throw up your cock for you.
I wouldn't go that far there, bro. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not going that far.
So we have some questions saved for you that Kitty saved, that, like, for the chat to interact and ask you some questions and kind of bounce them off of us too. So Kitty, why don't you pull up some of those questions? Leo says, I want to see Fields throw the ball as soon as he hits his 3-step drop and play action. Why didn't Getsy design more of those plays for him? How many times did we see that in 2022?
I think that's rhetorical, because I don't know if anyone knows the exact answer, how many times we saw that in 2022. Obviously, it wasn't enough.
15.
Yeah, that's the thing. Fields, to his, if I'm going to be, and I love Fields. I'm wearing a Fields jersey right now. But if I'm going to be critical of him, he did hold the ball too long at various points. But, I mean, he's trying to make a play, and the offensive line is bad. So he's trying to break down and either run or throw. But by design, play action would help, especially when you had Montgomery going well at times and Herbert well at times. And now it looks like the running games should be even better. You signed the kid from Carolina. You drafted this guy everyone's raving about from Texas. And who knows, maybe Herbert's the third team back now. I mean, I don't want to say that that's a fact, but it's certainly a possibility. So if you're able to pound the rock a little bit, play action would behoove you to protect number one for sure.
PJ, anybody else? I have something to say to that. I'll go last.
No, I mean, I'm good on it. Go ahead. Foster.
I can't do anything but agree with that. Man. I mean, I'm gonna think exactly. I say the same thing, dude.
I mean, I thought this. I will say this, Leo, that I thought the same thing last year. I wanted to see him just boom, boom, boom. I said it many times. Throw it now, throw it now, throw it now. And there was some times that we saw a receiver that was wide open, but he was looking the wrong direction, or it was the wrong progression or whatever. And there was also some times where you just saw that it wasn't there. Maybe it was something with the receiver that wasn't supposed to be there. So I definitely want to see more of that moving forward this season from him. Boom, 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 throw the ball. Boom, 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 and throw the ball. And I'm hoping that with the work ethic that he has himself and the kind of person that he wants to be great. He has this it factor. I think we all see it. It's to put him in the Michael Jordan category, I guess, or the, one of the greats category that works, and they're just going to put their head down, go to work, and then look up one day and they're in the Hall of Fame. That's what I see him as.
That, just to be fair, I want to point out, because I do listen to Ed and Dan a lot on WGN, and Ed says that he's like, the kid doesn't have it. Whether you want him to have it, that's a different thing. He can't read defenses. He can't hit his third and fourth read. He doesn't have the ability. Now, Hampton, on the other hand, is like, well, if you were running for your fucking life, you wouldn't be able to see the third or fourth receiver either. So these being two Bears Hall of Famers, two Bears legends, even they are split. So I am hoping that Fields is of the ability to do that, and I think he is. But when you've got Hall of Famers who think he isn't, the criticism is fair, unless you're like Chris Sims, who just says it just because you want to get clicks. Like, I hate that guy so bad, I literally could fight him. That's how much I don't like Chris Sims.
Go ahead, Jay Duque. You had something. I heard you were trying to get in there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think you can blame Getsy for, calling a 3-step drop back and Fields not hitting the pass right off of that. I did want to go back to Dan's points about the end around the bubble screens. So I think when you look at Getsy and he's designing a playbook for the season with the players that he has, I think he saw a role for Velus Jones being that bubble screen end around guy. Then he got a hamstring injury. I think Getsy kept those plays in the playbook to keep him involved when he did come back. And so he involved other guys to run that play in case of injury, like Velus had. Well, I think the issue, though, is that you just had kind of a talent issue, because if EQ is your end-around wide receiver, and now he's arguably the 6th or 7th wide receiver on this depth chart, mean, that's pretty hard to scheme around or scheme away from.
Yeah. Well said. He's like our mini version of Jordan Silvera on the show here, Dan.
No, I don't want to say that. I won't put that on anybody.
It's random trivia time.
All right.
What do you got for us, Kitty? Bears trivia. Walter Payton leads the Bears in total receptions. So which receiver ranks second on the all-time list?
I'm going to go.
C. Johnny Morris.
That's what I was going to say, Johnny Morris.
Wait, let me read them for the people listening in audio. A. Marty Booker. B. Brandon Marshall. C. Johnny Morris. Or D. Curtis Conway. All right, go ahead.
I
guys.
loved Curtis Conway, by the way.
I'll say B.
Which?
Johnny Morris.
B is Brandon Marshall.
I'm going with Johnny Morris at C.
I'm going with Johnny Morris at C too.
Yeah, I think I gotta agree with you, Johnny Morris. I don't think he's part of my era, but my backup would be Marty Booker because I know that he had over 100 receptions in 1 year.
2 years.
All right, let's get the chat.
01 and 02.
Nice.
Before we move on, we got a C from Chips Ahoy Boy. We got a B from Mr. Mayhem. Doug Van Dorn says Marty Booker A.
Cliff says Morris.
Luigi says Marty Booker too.
Yeah, Cliff says Morris.
If Cliff's saying Morris, he's old as dirt like you guys. So.
Johnny Morris led receptions and all that stuff until Peyton broke it, dude, and he still led stuff after that. I know it.
It's got to be Johnny Morris.
He was awesome.
All right, what's the answer?
Flanker. Played flanker.
What's the answer, Kitty?
Yeah. Johnny Morris.
Shut up, Shorty.
Great broadcaster,
you just
too.
copied me and Dan, fucker.
Yes. Johnny Morris is still the all-time leading receiver in pretty much every category for the Bears. So,
well, I just want to say for the record, I just purposely gave the wrong answers for you guys can look good. So, I was actually doing my part tonight.
Responses at pjloadofcrap.com.
No, I will say, based upon PJ saying Brandon Marshall, had Marshall spent more time with the Bears, he would have owned all those records.
Absolutely, Dan.
How long was he here? Was he here 3 years?
And wasn't quarterback.
12, 13, and 14. But, I mean, it was Jay throwing him all those passes. So,
well, I think that was by putting him in there was almost a trick question because at the time or by the end of his career with the Bears, wasn't he actually probably over Johnny Morris in some of those categories? But are they lumping him in there as his Bears career, which is only 2 or 3 years? Because that doesn't make him the all-time best in that category, right? It's how many receptions he had as a Bear, right?
yeah, he didn't have enough time with the Bears, but he's still in pure talent, especially in our lifetime, was the best Bears receiver we've ever had, and just pure talent. Like, to me, I think that's unquestionable. But again, he was only there between 2012, 13, and 14. So it's unfortunate. That whole squad could have been better with Alshon and Booker, or I'm sorry, Martellus Bennett and Cutler and Forte. They had a squad, man.
But you know what? I'm willing to bet Brandon Marshall is probably still in the top 10 of our receivers.
Well,
yeah,
probably.
he's trying to come back too. I don't know if you all saw that. He was yearning to play for the Jets and said, if I play tight end this year, I could catch 100 balls.
What? Wow. Okay.
He says he wants to win a Super Bowl with Rodgers, and Rodgers could help him win it. So
correct me if I'm wrong. He never made the playoffs ever as a player, correct?
That's unfortunate but true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dan, you want to? What time do I come back again?
So the final hour at 11 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to do the shoot the shit end of the show. We're all just going to hang out and shoot the shit, talk Bears, talk whatever, talk food, talk life. So yeah, come on back at 11 in an hour.
All right,
friend.
guys, my pleasure talking with all of you. I gave you a fist bump that you couldn't see, but I assure you it was there.
Appreciate you coming on. We'll see you all.
All right, be back with you. Thanks.
All right, so I'm not Doug. So let's see. Bryan Gilmore is our next guest.
He's not until 10:30. You told him, right?
Yeah, 10:30. But I told him if he wanted to come on, I think he wanted to come on at 10:30. So if you still want to come on at 10:30, we can definitely have you on then. And then, shit, guys. Well, is that him right now?
Yep, that's him.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, let's
Was he
bring
in the
on.
chat?
No,
That was him in the chat, huh?
Yeah, that was
What?
Bryan in the chat.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
in the
okay.
chat. He's been in the chat. He's no relation to anybody in Pink Floyd, huh?
What is up, Bryan, our newest guest from chat?
Can you hear me?
Can you
We
hear
can
us?
you, sir. Can you hear us?
No.
We can hear.
Welcome,
we can hear
Bryan.
you, Bryan. Can you hear us?
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Hello?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
He can't hear us.
We had this problem earlier with his connection. How did you figure that out? Did you reset your
We
internet?
put it on speaker.
Oh, you put it on speaker. Put it on speaker.
Put it on speaker last time. That's what he said.
Yeah. Let's see.
Hello?
There you go. You got it. You're on. We can hear you now.
Come on.
He can't hear us though.
You can't hear us. See, this is why you have to have pre-production meetings. But it worked in the pre-production meeting.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Let me get back.
Now you see, now you don't.
Let me get back. So we'll have Bryan on in a second. He's our newest guest from chat. Anyone who wants to join the show, you can email us at BearsCountryPodcast@gmail.com, and you can be a part of the show too. Kitty, what do you have to say?
May I run the Chris Watts promotion?
Please do. The Chris
While we
Watts
wait.
GoFundMe promotion.
Okay, really quick while we wait.
Okay. That's right. That's a Chris Watts GoFundMe. We're trying to get him here for a Bears game. We're trying to get him here in October, probably the Raiders game, maybe the Vikings game. Definitely going to go to the Barroom event, but any little bit, even $5 helps this British bloke come from Yorkshire, England to Chicago to see the Bears, and it's going to be exciting when he does. I tell you what, it's going to be a life-changing event for him. So we appreciate everybody who has donated, because we're up to like $800 now, I think. So
Absolutely.
but we still are, if we reach our goal of like at least 1,500, that should do it. So anybody who's willing to offer up a little bit, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Can you hear us now, Bryan?
Sure can.
Excellent.
All right.
Cool. All right. I got a question for you, Bryan, right off the top. First question is, what got you to be a Bears fan?
Okay, so I didn't like sports at all until I got to about the age somewhere between 10 and 13. Then sports kind of like started to click. And for me, like I told Dan when I was in the production meeting, the first time I ever seen Sweetness, Walter Payton, I was hooked. It wasn't anything else. And then after I was hooked on Sweetness, then they came with the defense. My goodness. You gotta be kidding me. Wow. That's all you can say about that.
You can't go wrong there. I'll tell you that. You can't
No.
go wrong there.
Absolutely not.
Took the globe by storm. That's how Chris Watts became a fan too.
Yeah.
He's right around our age.
It was definitely something incredible.
So, Brian, where are you from?
Well, I was getting ready to say hello all the way from Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah. You don't see too many Bears fans. Every once in a while you do.
Yeah, I guess we should have started off by saying, Brian, welcome to the show. It's great to see you. Great to have you on the show, and thank you for emailing us to join us. This is what we're trying to do here. So, you are an example of this, and this is awesome. So, did you grow up in Ohio?
Yeah, it's definitely my pleasure. And yes, I grew up. And well, let's see. I want to say this. Or no, 40 out of 47 out of my 51 years have been in Ohio. I actually lived in Don Burr's town for 4 years.
I feel sorry for you, bro.
Believe it or not, I did not convert to a Lions fan.
Good thing. I don't see why you would.
But
Right.
fortunately for him, I am a Michigan fan. So,
But it's crazy how the Bears just create they've created so many fans with the 85 team, right? And that the Walter Payton and Jim McMahon's, right? It's Dan Aguire became a fan of the Bears because of Jim McMahon from Virginia, you know?
it's crazy.
So it's crazy. And the Bears not only helped to start the NFL here, but then they helped to start the NFL in Europe too, which I'm sad for Chris Watts. I don't like the NFL in Europe. It's if they want to add another team there, that's going to be ridiculous because it's going to be too much travel for the players, and that's a whole different subject. But
well, the NFL tried that once, right? With their European league.
yes,
Yeah.
Didn't work out so well.
yeah. Well, that was all the cast-offs from the NFL, though.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So,
hey, Kitty, if you can highlight what Chips Ahoy boy said there, I started. I just want to say, I got you, Chips Ahoy boy. I'm with you. Sweetness, then the D.
Exactly.
mm-hmm.
You know, probably 85% of that defense should be in the Hall of Fame. That's not a homer saying that. That's like facts. Like I was just reading some of the stats and reading the names behind the stats. Like our corners, they weren't like the greatest, but they had 20 interceptions that year alone. And the main reason is because of the front line and the linebacking crew, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it does not negate the fact that they had 20 interceptions.
That dominance.
They had to catch the ball, right?
Yeah.
I think we had about 80 sacks, 72 sacks, something like that. Something crazy. We had a whole bunch of sacks that year too.
It was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's crazy that statistically the 86 team was better. I think they had more sacks in 86.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's when Fridge was a year into his that was the second year. So yeah, I can see that. That. Cool.
Buddy was gone, if you guys remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, who became the defensive coordinator?
Man.
Come on, J2K.
That was their best statistic defense too. I don't remember his name. You know who it is.
Oh, come on, help us out here in chat.
It wasn't Vince Tobin, was it?
It was Vince Tobin, yes.
It was Vince Tobin?
I think it was Vince Tobin.
I may be wrong.
Yeah, it was Vince Tobin, dude.
Huh?
I didn't check, but it was Vince Tobin.
Cool.
Get that man a cookie.
So go ahead, Dan.
No, go ahead, PJ.
So Brian, what do you think of Luke Getsy?
Okay, so there's a whole, like I said in the chat at the very beginning, there's a whole lot of different factors in what happened last year. And like if you're a fan, you got to be a fan. You can't be a fan only when they're good. and then complain all the time when they're bad. And like what I'm saying is, just look at the straight up facts. Okay, Ryan Poles, first year GM. Matt Eberflus, first year head coach. Luke Getsy, first year offensive coordinator in the NFL. And then you have
Alan Williams.
Yeah, Alan Williams, which is not his first year, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is his first year under Eberflus, okay, as far as the defensive coordinator goes. Okay, so you got all of that. So all of these people are kind of feeling themselves out and kind of like trying to throw stuff at the wall and see what it sticks type deal, okay? Now, on top of that, how many players did we have that were brand new? If they weren't brand new to the team, they were surely brand new to the system. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You got Fields working on what, his third offensive system? Second or third. Yeah. Okay. Then you got a brand new, except for Mooney and except for Komet. Well, and then the running backs. Other than that, everybody else in their receiving core was brand new.
Right.
To our system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then
preach it.
I'm sorry?
Preach it.
Okay. So now everybody's like, for me, I was really excited about seeing Poles and seeing Eberflus and this whole thing starting off. But you have to temper your excitement to know that there are going to be bumps in the road. And last year was a bump in the road. Now this year, we're going to see a vast change. We got rid of what, 90% of the old regime's defense. Okay, and let's not forget that the old regime's defense was a 3-4 defense. Okay, we've switched defenses like 2-3 times
in the last four years.
And right, exactly. And so we're running a defense to be a 4-3 with 3-4 defenders. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, on top of that, not only are we doing that, but we're also getting rid of high-priced, aging veterans that do not fit our system. And now we're plugging in brand new, young, drafted players into that system. Okay? So I'm just kind of like explaining everything out like as logically as I can to help you to see that, yes, that defense was horrendous when we got rid of Mac and Roquan and Quinn. Okay? We got rid of those three guys, and man, we fell off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But then we started to see little sparks of like what Eberflus really wants out of his defense.
Mm-hmm.
We saw, well, at the very beginning, we saw what the rookie, the kid on the end. He had a flash there at the beginning, and if I really do believe this.
Alex Jones? On
the defensive end. Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Dominique Robinson?
Yes. Okay. So he had that spark that very first game. And I really, truly, honestly believe that if Quinn had been there the whole year, you would have seen a whole lot more from Dominic Robinson and probably Travis Gibson, because they don't move into that number one slot as far as the defensive end goes. Right?
Right.
You agree with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
I think they would have been. I think they would have been more reserved. I think limited spot, limited. I think it would have been more limited as far as.
obviously, last year the middle was just a real big problem for us, right? And we, like I said, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but we were running with a 3-4 defense on a 4-3 defense. Like, you cannot expect great things.
The first
Yes,
year
there are,
always a transition. Yeah.
yes, there are players that can run both systems. Yes, I can say that, but to expect every single player that we had that was running a 3-4 to automatically just be like, oh yeah, we're running a 4-3 now. Okay, let's all just dominate. No, we're not doing that.
Well,
That's going to take time.
I
And
think
Poles told us right from the very beginning, you got to be patient. This is going to take time. This is not a quick fix. We've had quick fixes in the past, and look where those got us.
I agree, but I think that's part of what Poles did was by changing so many players, he brought in the 4-3 system. So a lot of the players that we had in our 3-4 were no longer here because that's why Poles got rid of them and brought in 4-3 guys. But my next question for you is this real quick. Where do you think our offense is going with Getsy? I mean, what do you think would be the improvements under Getsy come this year?
So the way that I see us as a team for this year is exactly very, very, very similar to what Detroit was last year. And what I mean by that is Detroit, the prior year before Detroit last year, Detroit lost a whole bunch of really close games, if you remember. I don't know if you guys tracked Detroit or not, but they lost a boatload of 1 to 7 point games. Okay. And that's where we were last year. As bad as we were still in 75% of those games. It wasn't like we were bad to the point of we were getting blown out of the water bad.
That's why I said at the beginning of the show. It's like it's like the best 3-14 team I've ever seen.
Hey,
yeah, exactly.
Brian, hold on a second. You're out of here, buddy. You want to talk? You want to sit up here and say compare us to Detroit? You got to get out of here. All right, Brian.
I'm not comparing us to Detroit. I'm just saying we are in the same position that Detroit was. That's not comparing us with Detroit. Jared Goff he ain't going nowhere. I'm sorry, but Don Burr, he's not going anywhere.
Again, we're gonna have to get rid of you.
He's dying to pull somebody out, Brian. He's been dying to pull somebody out. He had to do that to you.
I had you.
No biggie. The only place Jared Goff is going is probably eventually he's going to be on his way out of Detroit because Hendon Hooker is going to be their next quarterback. You know this, right? like this isn't like first time knowledge or the news to anybody. Right. They drafted Hooker for a reason, and that was to eventually replace Goff. Okay, so as far as the offense goes, you asked me, what do I expect out of Getsy? What I expect out of Getsy is now I expect him to know his players. I expect him to know the players that were there last year. I expect him to know their tendencies. I expect him to know what they can and what they cannot do. And when we talk about like his play calling, this was the first time last year. So now this year, he should have a better understanding of what works in the NFL and what does not work. So throw those things out that you don't like, that don't work for you, and focus on what does work for you in Fields, and just realize that we got one heck of a lot better of a team now than what we started off with last year. And if you want to say last year, why didn't we have a better team last year? Why didn't we get those players? Why didn't we change like all of our team around? Well, I'll give you one very, very big clue to that. And that is Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace. I'm sorry.
Did you mean to say Pace or Poles?
I'm saying Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace is the reason we didn't have the opportunity to do as much as what we could have done, because he traded away all our picks. He spent all of our money. We were to the point where we had to get rid of players to add players.
Right.
Okay?
We couldn't go from a 3-4 to a 4-3 and expect Khalil Mack, who hadn't really performed up to his expectations year in, year out, in a 3-4 to actually be a defensive end in a 4-3, right?
And a high paid end at that.
Well, he was a Pro Bowl. He made the Pro Bowl as a defensive end in Oakland when they was out there one year.
Yeah.
Right, in his prime. And he was, I mean, what was his best season was his first 4 games, or his first season with the Bears. After that, he's...
It was injury list every other week for Mac. And that's not Mac. I don't know that that's really Mac's fault, but I don't know that that's anybody else's fault either. Your best availability, your best ability is availability. Being able to keep your body as your temple and do what you have to do to be on that field is part of why you get paid what you get paid, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my next question for you, Brian. I'm sorry, guys. If you guys got a question for him, just go ahead and ask. But
we have some. I'm sure we have some questions from chat for him too.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this last question real quick. Brian, currently on the Bears' current roster, who is your favorite player?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Who is your favorite player on the current roster?
On the current roster, well, this isn't really a tough one. This is field all the way, and then it's followed up right behind there with the new guy at middle linebacker.
Jermaine Edmonds.
Yeah, Edmonds, and Moore is just gonna grow on me. He's gonna grow like wildfire.
Yes, he is.
I'm telling you, if you've ever watched Carolina, he did some incredible things with nothing.
Right.
He had worse than what the Bears had.
Mm-hmm.
Did he say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Brian. Did you say DJ Moore is your first answer?
No, Fields.
No, I said Justin Fields.
Oh well, we can't count the quarterback. We can't count.
Oh no, we can't count the quarterback.
That's man.
I didn't know there was rules.
Oh yeah, my fault. My fault.
You got to explain the rules first,
okay,
TJ.
That's on me.
So it's a really close tie for me. It's probably Edmonds and Moore are my favorite players on both sides. You could say that. Both sides. There you go. There's my 2 soon-to-be favorites on the team.
Are you going to buy a jersey?
What's that?
Are you going to buy a jersey of either one of them?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay. I was just wondering.
I honestly would like to buy a Walter Payton jersey if I was going to buy a jersey. You know how when you go out and you buy a jersey, a guy's there for a couple, 2, 3, 4 years. Then next thing you know, he's on this 5th team. You know what I'm saying?
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right there. I can't stand that.
And then you own Mitchell Trubisky jersey, and then everybody's looking at you like he's not on the Bears.
I have a Mitch Trubisky jersey, and I was at the first game of the season against the Niners.
I feel bad for you.
Somebody was wearing a Trubisky jersey. They just took a shitty piece of masking tape, the yellow kind.
Yeah.
They just badly wrote Claypool over it.
Oh my goodness. Jeez. Well, like I said, if I was going to buy a jersey, which I really do want to buy a jersey, it would be Sweetness. There is no other Bear ever that I would ever want more than, as far as their jersey goes, is Sweetness. He was, to me, the Bear. There wasn't, like, Butkus was the Bear,
right?
but Sweetness was the Bear to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sweetness in the D.
Mm-hmm. Can't deny it, man. Everybody feels the same way. Sweetness in the D. Why is that funny, PJ?
You
Let
already
us in
know.
your head.
You already know.
I honestly don't.
Are you serious? You don't know why that's funny?
No.
Sweetness in the D?
Sweetness in the D.
P in the V? P in the V? Sweetness in the D? Oh my
It's
God.
hilarious.
Look at the anatomy of a man and a woman. Sweetness in the D. Jesus.
So far over my
Help
head
me.
sometimes. I don't know where this. How that's like.
How is a woman pointing this out?
Foster, man, you're Foster. PJ,
How-
you are. I'm never gonna
Shorty,
get your
how do
damn
you not
side,
catch
PJ.
that? There could be a dick involved. How do you not catch it, right, PJ?
I caught it instantly and I laughed. I'm like, it's clever. It's clever.
S and the D and the
But
P.
hold on, though.
Skip it.
How in the world does your wife catch it and not you?
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
How many other people did that go? Is it just me?
It was.
Foster, did you get that?
Probably just you.
Did you get that,
Did you
J2K?
see me going chuckling?
Yeah, I
had
got
my
it.
mute on, but I was chuckling.
Trust
So
me.
Well,
did you get
Retro
that,
thinks you're a
Brian?
virgin, hun. So, you know.
Oh man, I always see you guys are like well tuned to paying attention to every because you're waiting for it. Usually I'm used to running a show, so now I have Kitty back, so I'm on top of you now, PJ. I'm on top.
Hold on. Chip
Look at
Ahoy
look
boy
at
was the
PJ
first
now.
one.
He's
Whoa,
like,
whoa.
Wait, what do you mean?
how
You're
are
on
you
top of
married
me?
to this guy, Kitty? How are you married to him?
He makes me laugh.
Okay, we'll accept that.
Hey, you guys got to
Barry.
remember. You guys got to remember who the host is. You got to start respecting the host, right, Dan?
Fuck
you.
you, Dan.
I'm just saying, Chips Ahoy boy was the first one to say it in the chat. And now-
Yeah, he sure was. But that was a while ago too.
Right.
So bad with it. There's nothing that I love more than like when I hear you getting J2K chuckling because we can't see his face. So you just hear like the.
I do have a question that I saved transitioning back into the more conversation. It's from Cliff, so I'm going to pull it up, you guys.
Even my own mammy didn't get it.
I thought it was about the schedule.
Absolutely.
I need to read this for audio. You guys agree that adding more is going to give Justin a guy he can count on. Nobody else is open. More will be open and where he should be. Correct.
Absolutely. And not only that, but if Moore is the guy that he has been, it's going to make everybody else fall into place. Really, honestly, like that's all you can hope for is that if he is the dependable guy that he has been, everybody else is going to want to be there.
Justin Fields himself has talked about the short passing game, and DJ Moore is going to open that up for him dramatically.
Well, his biggest flaw to date was the mid-round or the middle area, and that's where Moore feasted. Moore feasted like 75% of the catches that he caught were right in the middle where Fields just didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you get if you get Moore and Justin on track, you're going to see Justin blow up as far as the middle passes go.
Mm-hmm. I think this year is something to look forward to, and I think that Getsy is going to be the X factor to that because it's going to be year 2 in this offense, and I think he's going to add a lot to what the Justin Fields passing game is going to look like in this season.
It's
So-
year two. It's year two for him, and it's year two for Justin. And
Mhm.
that's usually where a quarterback takes their biggest leap, is that second year in the offense.
Mhm.
I was
Sorry, I
watching
didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to
Oh,
make
okay.
sure.
I was watching Hulk and Johns, and they said that in the OTA practice that they saw, Fields threw the ball more to DJ Moore than anyone else.
Kitty, do you have any questions for Bryan before we sign him off, and unless he wants to come back for the last hour?
I have a question
Yeah, go ahead, JTK.
and a compliment. So
Yes.
the compliment, I think, when you brought up the coaching all being rookies, I think Alan Williams was the only coach that we have on the team that took a lateral move. And you're 100% right that everybody else took a step up. Chris Morgan was assistant line coach coming over to Green Bay. Are you shaking your head no, PJ?
No, I'm saying yes.
Alan
Exactly.
Williams. Alan Williams was a defensive back coach in Indiana. Indiana.
Yeah, under Eberflus, he was under Eberflus.
Yeah.
Eberflus was a defensive coordinator. So they all took that same leap. But Alan Williams was a defensive coordinator with Minnesota a while back.
Correct.
So he did take, well, in that sense, a lateral move. Nobody else is coached above their position they are at right now.
Right.
I believe that's pretty true. So I thought that was a good point. My question for you, Bryan, is who do you think is going to have a breakout season as far as skill players on the offense, excluding, say, Justin Fields and DJ Moore? Who's the next guy you think is going to be a star, someone who breaks out?
Good question.
Yeah, that is a really good one. I see there is, I'm not going to pinpoint a name. I'm going to tell you one of the other three receivers is going to benefit greatly from DJ Moore taking on the number one defender. And it really honestly should be Mooney that like, because he's been there, he's done that type deal. And you've seen the numbers before. And then he regressed last year because of being the number one wide receiver. So with him being put back in his place where it's either number 2 or number 3, I mean, you pick if you're saying Claypool's number 2 or if you're saying Mooney's number 2, whatever it is. Mooney should be the player that benefits the most from Moore. And the reason why I say that is because obviously he's taken the number 1 defender, but also he and Kmet are Fields of safety blankets. They're the ones that anytime Fields is like, oh, holy cow, I don't know what to do. And this is the past 2 years. They have been the ones that is like, okay, this is where I'm going. If nothing else is there, if I don't see anything, I'm either going there or I'm taking off like last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't mean to avoid answering like with a name, but I honestly really did. I feel like Mooney takes that leap again, maybe even to a greater extent because of Moore and that second year for Fields. I guess that's where I'm at with that. Did you say that you were one of the defensive, or were you just talking player overall?
Just awesome. But I think that was a great answer. I have a follow-up question, if you guys don't mind.
Okay.
Comparatively, as far as seasons, how excited are you for this upcoming season?
Okay, so I'm excited for this season, but if the fan in me wants them to go,
11-6.
Well, obviously, if it was the fan in me, I'd want them to be 17-0. But anyways, the fan in me wants them to do incredibly well. But the realist in me saying that even though they're in the right direction. I feel like they're right in the range of 500, maybe a little better. But
Well, see, that's when you get removed.
I actually agree with Brian, but
Oh,
you gonna kick me out?
Yeah, that's when you get removed too. All right, we got 11 and 6, right, guys?
The homer remove 11 and 6.
But really, honestly, we have to look at the glaring hole. The glaring hole is until something gets fixed, defensive end, pass rusher. And if you don't have that, you're not gonna be 11 and 6.
Yeah, let's look at the glaring hole there.
Oh boy.
He got
But
penetration.
really, honestly though, like I look forward to seeing how Justin improves. I really look forward to seeing how the running back line, room shapes out because man, we got 3 really good running backs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not discounting what's his name,
Trustin Ebner.
I am discounting Ebner, but the Homer, I'm not really like. I feel like he's a special teams guy, and maybe on occasion, like third down, pass block, maybe catch out of the backfield. But he's not going to be there all the time. It's not going to be a situation where you're seeing every single third down because we got that other horse that's going to be vying for time with Roshan. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not going to leave Roshan out.
No,
they're going to give him as many opportunity as anybody else in that backfield.
The preseason will be fun to watch with him.
They drafted him for a reason.
Yeah.
They handpicked him for a reason.
Yep. So, guys, should we keep him on until the last hour, or should we sign him off, have him come back on? What do you guys think?
Yeah,
you guys have more questions for him? He seems to be on a roll here.
Yeah, we can bring him back.
Okay.
Cliff brought up something about looking at the schedule this year. Not the schedule, but how easy it is. Supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
That was somebody. It was started. I don't know who started, but I saw it in there.
Were there any questions for Brian before he hops out for a little bit? Kitty.
Do we have
time? Okay. What is the trivia question? How many coaches did Mike Ditka have in 1964?
Catches.
Yeah.
I'll answer this last.
I would say one coach.
How many catches did Mike Ditka have in 1964 when he set the NFL record for the most receptions in a season by a tight end? A, 73, B, 75, C, 78, D, 82.
I'm going to go 73, and the reason being is we haven't really had a quarterback in our whole history of Bears fandom besides me, if you want to count Sid Luckman. But that's just my personal guess is a 73.
I'll go after you, Foster. J2K. What do you guys think in chat? We got a couple of D's. 82. Foster.
Man, I don't know off the top of my head, but I would agree with Brian on 73, just because back then I don't think the passing offense was where it is obviously nowadays. So I would go with the lowest number on the board.
73, you're going with A?
Yeah.
2 A's.
I thought it was 75 B.
DJ?
I would say I would go with the D. Yes, 82. I'm going to go with the D. 82.
Chat.
Just smile.
Look, he tried to peg the dick thing on me in the beginning. He's like, why does everything always have to do with you and Dick, Shorty? It's like Beavis and Butthead with him. Okay,
I
so
guess
chat,
this would be a good time to point out that Ditka was one of those top 10 receivers too.
yeah. So he was also
All time receiving. Yeah.
he was also a
Yes.
great tight end.
Yes, he did. Yes, he was a great tight end. That we're talking about Ditka.
Okay,
He opened holes.
we've got a bunch of chat. Yeah, he did. He got great penetration too.
Oh boy.
Chat says D. We got a bunch of D's. 82, 82, 82. We got Chips always saying D. Doug Van Dorn says D. Retro says 82. Cliff says it's 75. I know Ditka. I'm gonna go with 75. I'm gonna go with B because remember the number used to be 70 catches, right? That used to be the high number, then it became 100. Right now it's probably like 120 or something, but I remember that being a benchmark number for a receiver. So I think that Ditka was 5 over that number. So I'm going to go with B. So, Kitty, what's the answer?
Sure,
Nice.
you go
are.
first because you're just copying off of being Cliff, you fucker.
B,
See,
75.
this is great because I don't have the book, so I don't know what the answer is.
75.
Yeah.
Good job. For those you got it right, good job.
I'm 2. You guys want to keep score of this? I'm 2 for 2.
No, we don't want to keep scoring, man.
Hey, let's keep in mind you are the host too, so you should have a little prior knowledge of stuff, right?
I mean, this is literally my wife bought me a mic one day and said, I was like, what is this for? She's like, to do a podcast. I was like, why? What is a podcast? She's like, stop talking to me about the fucking Bears. I don't care about their stats.
You need to find friends.
That's what you guys are for.
That's why she gave you the mic.
Exactly. Go make some Bears friends. Get me out of it. She's producing the show again, right? She's back for more.
And now you roped her into this.
She admits it's fun. I've heard some of the most guttural laughs from her in the other room. I tell you. So she can't deny that. Well, hell, we're like 20 minutes to the last segment when we're gonna do the shoot the shit segment. So, Brian, you want to hop off for a little bit? We'll kind of wrap this up here with us, and then you want to come back for the final hour.
All right, that's fine.
All right, cool. You don't even have to leave the studio. We can just pull you out. And we can just mute you. There you go. So, guys, you brought in Dan there. There you go. So, guys, like, I mean, the overall optimism seems to be pretty good about what we got going here with Getsy, right? I like what Dan brought to the segment there when he was kind of giving us some of the things to think about the opposite perspective of, right? Because we all just want to be positive, right? You're the ultimate homer until you met your match with Shay, PJ.
Man, hey, I'm a homer. You're a homer. Wouldn't you like to be a homer too? Yes, I am.
Who else here is a homer in chat? Let's get to some of those chat questions. Let's see. Doug Van Dor says the little arrow is pointing towards E, and while that has always stood for excellent in my book, I'm afraid that means we're out of gas. Oh, come on, Doug. That's not you, Doug. That's not you. So he says we even have a running back who's a homer.
Absolutely.
Hey, can we touch on the schedule this year? Briefly,
Yeah,
not the schedule, but just like everybody's saying it's easy. Do you guys remember last year? We had the second easiest schedule going into the season. And what was it by the time the season ended? The second toughest or fourth toughest? So they talk about it being an easy schedule for us next year. We could talk that all we want because we're looking at this year's stats.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that. I was looking at a couple of teams the other day and some stuff, and I was going, wow, I got another game I got to look at with the Bears, and that's Atlanta. But I don't know. I just want to touch on it because Cliff and a couple of the other people in the chat were talking about it earlier. I think Kitty even started. But just I wanted to get anybody else's take on it. If you guys are concerned about it, or you think like how many of these teams are going to be? I'm tooching myself.
Well, I was last year. I predicted 11-6 because I thought we had the Packers early in the season at home or in Green Bay. That's the best time to beat them is when the weather is nice and they're facing a new team and they don't know what to expect from this offense and or defense. And what's up, King Pookie? And I thought we would be able to get a few wins right out of the gate. The Niners, we won that game. And then I thought we were going to beat the Packers. I thought we would have a quick start and build up some wins. And that would get us to the latter point of the season when teams are starting to figure us out. And then we would start to lose some games. But I thought I honestly did think we would be 11-6 because of that. Plus they added the extra game. They added the extra playoff opening, so that changes the dynamic of every season now moving forward, not just last. So that was why I literally thought we could sneak in and kind of get some wins that nobody thought we would get, and then build off that momentum with the quarterback that we have. And it didn't pan out that way. And that doesn't mean that, we all came to 11-6 again collectively. J2K, I'll pull you out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's reason for optimism this year. We could we don't even know what an offense looks like. The closest thing that we have to an offense is the Mark Trestman era with Jay Cutler and what the hell is it? We were just talking about him. His wide receiver, Marshall.
Forte.
Martellus Bennett, Forte. Yes, that we still had the defense intact for the
The NFL figured Trestman out pretty quickly in year 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But it was like, holy shit, this is a real offense in that first year, right? And we just keep getting fooled. And here I thought we were going to come out of the gates last year and be awesome, and we weren't. And it's, who knows, like, we can sit here and be homers all we want, but in the end, what's going to really happen this season? Are we going to be sitting here again next year going, oh, fuck, I thought Justin Fields was at least throwing for 25 touchdowns,
But you know what I think? I think every room has improved. Right. Whether it's running back room, defensive line room, linebacker room, wide receiver room, every room has improved from last year. So that's why I'm much more optimistic than I was last year, because last year I didn't think we was going to do that great, because seemed like every room kind of got worse last year because he was getting rid of people, in my opinion.
We just overestimated. Everybody that I know overestimated the talent that was on the team. I had them winning 8 or 9 games. I think the year before I only had them winning 5. So But again, how many of those games were 7 games? I'm just
Swifty in the house.
What is up, Swifty?
You're never late, Swifty. It's just time for you to fuck off.
I got something to say to Swifty. I watched this video, right? Swifty, I always watch your videos because you're my guy. But when you talked about Montgomery being the comments he made, him not being loyal or something along those lines, my point is this. I think players equate loyalty or a team being there for them in money. That's the only thing they relate to. If you don't give them adequate enough money for them, they will say you don't appreciate me. That's what it is, appreciation. You don't appreciate me if you're not giving me enough money. That's how players equate, because they like, hey, it's a short-lived career, so let me make as much money as I can to show me that you appreciate me. Pay me as much money as I can get.
I agree with that, man. But there's
it's a two-way street.
2 ways you could do it. Go ahead, J2.
All right, I was just going to say it was a 2-way street, but really quick, Foster, I wanted to touch on the easy schedule. I think that the amount of miles we travel, we have the easiest schedule in that sense. So I do agree with that. I 100% disagree with people saying, looking at the teams and saying, oh, Carolina's a beatable team, Atlanta's a beatable team, the Broncos are beatable. You just have no idea. Sean Payton could turn Denver around pretty quickly. Atlanta, to me, I think Dave Ragoon is actually going to be in consideration for a head coaching job, the offensive coordinator in Atlanta. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think when we play them, I think the second to last week of the season or third to last week of the season, I think they're going to be a very good team, a very tough team. So, yeah, and also the Thursday games gives us this mini bye, but it also gives us a short week. So as much as I love these mini buys, I don't know how much you can say that one is better than the other.
I got a question regarding Atlanta. Is Ragon going to be calling plays? Because I thought their head coach called plays.
You might be right, PJ, but I do really like what Atlanta does on offense, and my assumption is Dave Ragoon is a large part of that.
Okay.
I gotta pee, guys. I'll be right back. You guys got this shit.
Thanks for the information, man.
You want to watch? Want to cross streams?
No thanks.
I know PJ does.
What was that? Poltergeist? No, that was Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Never cross stream.
Yeah, there you go.
Ghostbusters.
But yeah, back to the Monty talk. Yeah, I agree with you, DJ. I think it's a two-way street. You don't re-sign the guy and he gets a check from another team that's much higher than you are offering. That it's not just the money; it's a respect thing.
Yeah.
And also, Montgomery is in a new city, and he does want fans behind him. Mm-hmm. So I can't blame the guy.
Right.
You might move in your life. It doesn't mean you hate the place that you once were at.
Yeah, I think I don't take it personal because let's face it, we wasn't very good when he was here, for one. I mean, yeah, we made the playoffs, we kind of backed our way into it and lost to New Orleans in that first round while he was here. However, I think because players' careers are so short that they're trying to maximize their money. So yes, they want to be able to get that money, and to say that, oh, you appreciate me, but you're not paying me as much as this other team, you're telling me that you don't appreciate me. And I think that's how I can understand him saying it like that. I mean, I'm not saying he's right or he's wrong in that, but I can understand where he's coming from. And I know Swifty wasn't necessarily saying that either, but I just wanted to point that out because I did see his video today right before the show. I watched it. I was like, okay, when I get a chance to talk to Swifty again, let me point that out to him. So that's why I wanted to do.
That brings up my question now that we're talking about this is, like, are you still going to follow him or back him up? Because I still am. Well, I think Swifty said it too, that he was going to. I just wanted to ask everybody in the chat and everybody, are you behind Montgomery or not? That's all.
Well, I'll say this. I'm the type of guy, I always like Bears drafted players. And once we draft them, even if they go to another team, I still want them to do well, except, of course, when they play against us. So put it this way, like a Leonard Floyd, I will root for a Leonard Floyd before I would root for a Khalil Mack. I love Mack. Don't get me wrong. I loved him, but he's no longer here. We didn't draft him. We actually drafted Leonard Floyd. So that's why I'm like, because one thing like we did this year, we looked at our draft picks, right? We looked at our draft picks, we broke them down, we studied them all. So we started building this equity in them to where, okay, I'm invested in this guy. Javon Dexter, man, I'm invested to him now. So I'm watching him and I'm curious to see what his progress is going to be like. So 4 years from now, we don't sign him to a second contract and somebody else does. I'm going to be like, well, I spent these last four years rooting for this guy, investing in him. So I just can't let him go now. So yeah, I'm still going to root for him. And maybe not as much, but I'm still going to root for him. That's where my mindset is.
Yeah. I root for the human being. I think that, we make a very big deal about being fans of a certain team. And if you're not wearing Bears clothing or you don't run into someone wearing Detroit clothing, you sit down and have a conversation with them and it's not about football, they could become your best friend. So, I don't want to get too into that, but I do want to say another thing about Monty is that he was very underutilized in Nagy's scheme. And that may have helped him a little bit in not getting as much wear and tear. But I think Monty would have loved to handle the ball far more often.
The issue I had with Nagy regarding Monty will make a good play, and then Nagy will take him out. And it's like he never was able to get a good rhythm going. And that to me is counterproductive to what any other real football coach will ever do. You're like, okay, this guy, he's doing it, he's doing it, okay, until he's tired, tap his head and say he's ready to come out. Other than that, we're going to keep on feeding him the ball. But Nagy, oh, man, that was a great 20-yard run. Here, come on here, sit on the sideline real quick.
Matt Nagy, another name for crap.
And just like Dan was saying, pass, run.
Man.
Monty would pick up the first down after we got, 3-yard receptions on curl plays. Monty picks up the first down. Nagy comes out. 4 wide receiver set, running 8 yards down the field.
Man, I'm telling you, man, it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had the Nagy thing. I have to find that and add it back to my repertoire. Because anytime anybody said his name, I had a clip I pulled up of him just being clueless. It's like
right. I have no clue.
Yeah, it's like I have no thought. Yeah, no shit, you don't. I clearly do not like my quarterback, but I'm gonna start out every game by trying to throw 3 passes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna not defer the kick. I'm gonna defer the kick so I can put my defense out there first, then come back with my offense and run 3 straight passes with Mitch Trubisky.
Or better yet, I'm going to go against this great pass rush in Cleveland and have empty sets to where my rookie quarterback can just get destroyed.
You're brilliant, PJ. Brilliant.
Yeah, when James Daniel had that exit interview, and he basically was like, even us offensive linemen in that room, I mean, how do you not double team, Chubbs on Cleveland? Like, what are we doing? And he said this in a live press conference. You never hear that. That's how bad Nagy was. His own players, I'll say the worst possible thing live just so I can get out of here. He's not even the coach anymore. I'm done with this team.
Oh man.
So yeah, Nagy did.
Honestly, when he made that,
to watch him.
When he made that comment, James Daniels,
private chat,
that made me want to keep him. I wanted to keep him after he made those comments. I was like, man, you know what?
I agree.
That's my guy.
That's accountability.
Yes.
Yes.
We're getting close to the time where Kitty is going to bug out. So, Kitty, why don't you give us one more trivia question? All right. I love how it's just like random, though. In which season did Devin Hester tie the NFL record for punt return touchdowns with 4?
Answer first, Shorty.
Huh? A, 2007, B, 2006, C, 2008, D, 2005. Well, 2005 is not correct. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I'll let you guys go around.
No. We want you to go first.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say 2006. Remember, I'm undefeated.
Yeah, that's where we had to go first. Go ahead, Foster.
You're muted, Foster.
Tooch.
Dang.
2006.
Okay. Oh, what year did you say, Shorty?
2006.
All right, I'm going to go with 2007.
All right, I'm gonna give a little bit of a long-winded answer here. So when we drafted Devin Hester, I was actually a little bit down on that pick, and at the time, I felt we needed more football players. We had already drafted Daniel Manning, who was a good kick return, punt returner in college, and I was kind of confused. Like, why did we go after the same position in the next round and draft Devin Hester? This is a little odd to me. And then I went and watched all of his tape from Miami, and I got really excited. And the first time he touched the ball in preseason, and he didn't take it to the house, he didn't get a touchdown, but I saw the talent in him. And I turned to my roommate and I said, this guy is going to break every single return record in the NFL after this first play that I saw in preseason.
Wow,
And
really?
I believe that 2006, his rookie year, was the year that he broke that record with 4 punt returns.
What do you guys think in chat? We got James Ford saying 2008. Retro says 1895. Did Cliff say 2007? I can hear her laughing at that.
Retro, it's not the year I was born, dude.
I saw that Chips Ahoy Boy said D 2005. Okay, what's the answer, Kitty?
Oh, right.
Damn.
There you go.
I thought for sure it was his rookie season, 2006.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm just going to say for the record real quick, Shorty, you're no longer undefeated.
Me too, because I was the same as his record, dude.
That's why I went against you guys. See, I was going to say 2006, but when you guys said it, I said the only way for me to catch up with you guys is go against another answer. So, yeah.
Unless we were right, then you would have just been keeping pace.
That's why I was going to go against you anyway. I mean, like I said, if you would have said 2007, I would have said 2006. So whatever you said, I was going to go the other way.
Now you're right, Retro.
But he did. I mean, in 2006, that was his rookie year, correct? And that's when he went to the Super Bowl. But those returns don't count in the playoffs towards his record, correct?
True.
Correct. Yeah, that sucks. Why?
He had 3 punt returns for touchdowns in 2006.
What?
And I know he had the field goal return for a touchdown against the Giants. He had a return against Minnesota as a punt return.
Did he return a punt 80-something yards in his first or second game with the Bears?
Yeah.
I think it was his first game. I think it was his first game.
I think it's the Packers.
80-yard punt return, I think. Somebody looked that up.
It was called. He had a huge punt return that was called back in his first game as well.
Was that it, or was there one that did it that was good? Because I swore I don't remember.
He was a prime time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite, like I said, was that one J2K kid said about with the Giants on that missed field goal. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
Yes. The way he just stood there and he just started walking slowly. And then if you watch that play, I mean, you watch everybody was blocking so well. It was like crazy. Like Urlacher's out there, Hill and Huntmeier's out there, Brandon Ian Badagio, who was a special teamer guy. He was. I mean, they were just playing blocks.
But you got to also remember they had their field goal kicking team on, so they didn't have as much speed, being the Giants out there at the time to try to catch him. So that was set up perfectly, man.
Oh, that was beautiful.
September 10th, 2006, 84-yard punt return for a touchdown to lock up a 26-0 victory over the Packers.
Yes. Good job, Foster.
And Swift saying
I went and looked it up because I couldn't remember. I thought whatever. You know what I'm saying.
I like what Swift saying. We had Urlacher and Tillman on special teams. It was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. I remember listening to Charles Tillman when they drafted him in the car. I still live there, of course, and I I was just like, this guy is going to be awesome. And then he was like talking about his nickname Peanut, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then he was at the Cubby Bear North, which is like up north off of I think 83, up kind of in like Lake County, I think. And I remember seeing him there when he was doing an event there. I was like, this guy, what a great dude he is. And look, he's still sticking around. Did you guys see Tillman doing the he was part of the little video that the Bears made for like their little they were chefs working in a
yeah. He also talked to the rookies again this year.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 years in a row.
Is he still not a FBI agent?
I don't know. I know he was, yeah.
He's
Yeah,
still,
I know
he's
that's
still
what I was
active
wondering,
right now as of today.
He's what?
He's still active as of right now today, yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
One of my favorite.
Man. He's one of my guys.
One of my favorite.
Because I love
Sorry.
them all. Sorry, J2.
Sorry, Foster. One of my favorite Tillman plays is when last game of the season versus Minnesota, when he out-mossed Randy Moss for the interception to keep them out of the playoffs. And he out-mossed Randy Moss.
Uh-oh.
3, 2. Are we done? Are we done? Are we done?
We're 5 minutes late.
Oh, should we let the whole thing happen? Oh. Can't let Kitty explode.
Did we live through it or are we dying? No,
That's what happens when she explodes. But we all got it after 5 seconds. So
I'm coming in to let you guys finish off the rest of the show because my catnip has kicked in. So I need to go. Chill out.
Thank you, Kitty.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Kitty. Appreciate your patience.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to let you guys.
thank you, Kitty. Now it's time to shoot the shit. So continuing shooting the shit.
Hey, we got the guys
PJ,
in
you
the
got
chat waiting, right?
Bring these boys in.
Yeah, we got. Let's see. Let's bring back in Brian.
Danny.
I don't know if Dan's still here.
I'll be
Dan,
right
you there?
back, you guys.
Okay.
I'll be right back, okay?
All right,
Okay.
Jake, okay.
Dan, you there? Not sure if Dan's
He'll
there.
be
or not.
back.
Dan, you there?
His thing's there. He'll be back. Hopefully.
So I have something for you guys.
Go ahead.
You guys said that it was sad that the playoff kickoff and punt returns didn't calculate into his overall. But to me, the most saddest part of the whole thing with Hester is the fact that I do believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that there is a kicker in the Hall of Fame, but the most explosive returner, not just kick returner, punt returner, the guy that changed the game. That's what special teams changed their whole, and defenses changed their whole philosophy because of him. And he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Blasphemy. If they make rank, they change rules because of a person. Come on, man.
You deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Guys, we have another guest that's coming in from chat. Chips Ahoy Boy is joining us.
Chipsy.
Chips ahoy, boys!
What's up, Cabby?
What's up, Chips?
What's going on, fellas? Great show tonight, man.
Man.
Thank you, man.
You guys
What's going on,
made-
Chips?
Thanks for hanging.
and
Anything-
PJ, thanks for shouting me out a couple times, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, you know, you was the one said, sweet as in the D.
You're in the family, Chips. You're in the family, bro.
Oh, when Brian said all that, why I became a Bears fan, I was right there with him, man. It was Peyton first and then that defense.
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched it for myself.
You had to be an idiot to watch that and not be a fan of it.
Michael.
Well, I actually became a Bears fan, as most of you guys know. I became a Bears fan with
When Hal started the team?
No, that was Foster.
when he helped Hallis start the team,
Yeah,
PJ.
that was Foster. See, I started with Buckus and Gail Sayers. Foster started with Hallis.
No. My father.
You say you guys became fans in 1895?
The Chicago Cardinals were the Morgan Athletic Club. That's the first team, dude.
Man.
And that was before that. I think it was 1887, I believe.
You guys were watching Red Grange? Is that what you said?
I taught Red Grange everything he knows.
Foster taught him everything he knows, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Wait, does that mean
No, but really, he was a heck of a player too, Grange.
Hey,
wait, Squeezy has a question for Chips Ahoy Boy. One question, Chips. Chewy or crunchy?
Blue bag. Blue bag.
I knew that answer.
Is the Chewy bag red?
Yes.
Okay.
The red bag is no good for Chips Ahoy Boy. No good.
OG.
Blue bag only. He said it like 3 times on the first or second show, right?
Yep. Good.
Well,
profile picture too on Twitter.
Hey, Chips Ahoy.
Yes, sir.
Don't the blue bags become chewy once you're putting them in milk though?
Actually, they do if you leave the bag slightly open. They do eventually.
Okay, yeah. It's true. True story.
I got a Bears trivia question myself.
But hold on, no. Let me say something to retro real quick.
Sorry, Pete.
No. Let me just say something retro. I wasn't the original Staley. It was Foster. Go ahead, Foster.
Speaking of Staley, when did the Decatur Staleys become an official team? Does anybody know?
Decatur Staley, 1920?
1919.
1919. The Bears are as old as the Packers. They just don't count that season because they went like 10-2. The Staleys were actually proclaimed the champs, and then it was taken away. I don't know why we're not. I mean, it's right. You could get it on Wikipedia. The Decatur Staleys were established in 1919. So,
what was the crowds like back then, Foster?
It was okay. It wasn't too bad because there was no traffic.
Oh, okay. All right.
Have you guys ever?
And to piggyback off of that, the NFL doesn't count championships; they only count Super Bowls,
which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of the something effect? Who is the man? You ever heard of the Mandela effect? Anyone?
I heard of it, but I forgot what it meant. Though.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me preface by asking the question: do you guys remember, every one of you, Nelson Mandela having died in prison or being released?
Released.
Being released.
Okay.
I don't even remember.
There's a vast majority of people that believe that he died in prison. Like they remembered him dying in prison, and I'm one of those. I thought he died in prison.
His wife did, I think.
Maybe. But so they ended up creating this website called the Mandela Effect, where things are not like history has changed. Like, for example, do you remember it being the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears?
Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears, right? Or Berenstain Bears?
You're talking about the cartoon bears?
Yep.
Yes.
Bernstein.
Stein or Stain?
Steen, I think I said.
Yeah, Steen, Stein, or Stain. I mean, Steen and Stein are the same, but Steen or Stain?
Bernstein Bears.
Are the Berenstain Bears?
Yes.
Either one.
But they're actually, if you Google it, they're Berenstain Bears with an AIN.
Oh, that's weird.
So that kind of, you guys were talking about something that made me think of. Oh, it was that I remembered reading when I was younger, that, just absorbing all the Bears information that I could. I used to be like Dan Aguire, only with like pure history. I remember reading that George Halas lent the Packers money to help them form a team. But
yeah, I remember that too.
Now, in the last 10 years, I've read that the Packers led Halas money because he was going broke. Does anybody?
I believe that.
I read that too. I read that too, and I had never heard that before. And I wish my father was around to let me know, or Marv Levy, because those guys knew.
So, Brian, you remember the same thing as I, right?
Yeah, and the reason being why he lent them money was so that they could keep the Packers in the league because they were going out.
Right, that's what I remember it being.
If they wouldn't have been helped, they were done.
It was $56,000, and he suggested they hire the guy out of New York named Lombardi. That's the story I got.
Jeez.
That's the story. Well, Halas was the coach. Halas was the coach at the time. I kept going, man, could you imagine if he retired in 57 and brought Lombardi and what might have happened in Chicago?
Yeah.
Isn't that some dumb luck, though? The Bears would have that kind of luck. They would help the Packers to get Lombardi.
Dumb luck.
Doug Van Dorn says that both could be true, just at different times. Maybe that's true. Maybe what I was reading was
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that is what it is. It's both.
I was reading that back in the 80s, so that history has been added to that Wikipedia channel or wherever the fuck I was reading it, you know. Walter Besky, what's up? Did the Packers give Halas $1,500 during the Depression, he asks? Walter is going to be on the show next week, guys. He's our next guest from chat coming on. Mammy, which is my mammy, said that she heard that Mandela died in prison too. So weird. And maybe how about this one? Here's another thing that's part of the Mandela effect. Do you remember the in China when they had the tanks? It was what was it called?
Tiananmen Square incident.
Did they run over the kids or did the people or did they stop?
They stopped.
I always remember there being like a blood streak across the ground because they ran over them.
I thought kids lost their lives because they kind of rioted and trampled over each other.
No,
it was one guy with two bags, and the tank stopped in front of him. I could close my eyes and see the whole thing.
Man, you could see the dog when Moses parted the Red Sea.
And I don't think.
I might be thinking of like a MTV video or something where they
oh boy,
I think it might have been in Tenacious D actually. I think one of the songs they said something about Tiananmen Square in one of their songs. I think in the video they might have showed them actually running them over, and that's where I got it from. That was in the 90s, so.
Tenacious D.
I blame Tenacious D.
There you go.
But it's funny how your mind remembers things, though, right? Your memory is never what you think it is.
It's weird how our
Leo has a question for you guys. Starting off with Shorty, and we're going to go around the horn here. If Leo, you had one last meal, what would it be? Mine would be a tray of Chinese food, pancakes with syrup, and some chocolate chip cookies with milk. Shorty, what's yours?
Well, first off, I would have to say, Leo, that depends on what Chinese food place it would be for me to even consider which Chinese food I would, if that would even be part of the question. Although I do like that answer because there are some good ones. But I would have to say mine would be 3 or 4 Italian beefs.
Yeah, I knew you'd say Dan.
Yeah, I probably have like 3 or 4 different varieties too, just so I could have the different varieties. If I was on death row, it'd be like, okay, give me Portillo's, give me a Johnny's, give me an Al's, and fuck it, we'll throw in a bone of beef. While we're at it.
Put all these different.
Be like, hang on a minute, it's still eating.
I got one more beef left. Come on, I'm gonna shut it all out.
It's a steak dinner from Tom's Steakhouse in Melrose Park, and a large stuffed pizza from Villanopi in Norwich, Illinois.
Villanopi.
Yeah. That will kill me before they kill me.
Damn. That's one way of doing it.
Yep.
All right, what you got, Brian?
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna say Greek food. I really like Greek.
Like a
lamb, yeah, anything like that. Yes, it's my favorite. Yeah.
What's that when Greek dessert they have. But balava some.
Oh, Are you talking about falafel, or are you talking about that falafel? I think is
What is it called?
baklava. Yeah, baklava. Yeah,
Baklava. Yep, baklava.
yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah.
Is Aguirre back?
I don't
What's
think
that?
so.
No.
Oh,
Aguirre,
right. Okay.
What you got, Chips Ahoy?
Mine, it's very easy. I would have a New York strip steak, baked potato, some steamed broccoli.
We're going to Tom's. We're going to Tom's, dude. Me and you.
Wait, can I interject on that? Okay, I've known Chips Ahoy boys since almost grade school. Like we grew up in the same town. I know him to be literally the most plain guy I've ever met. That's why I've said before, if your great grandmother, made him the best handed down homemade cookie recipes and gave him like 6 different amazing cookies you could sell for $1,000 a piece in a gourmet shop, he'd be like, nope, fucking Chips Ahoy.
You know I would try those cookies though, man. Come on.
What?
You know I would at least try one of them.
I have honestly handed you one of them and you were like, nope, it's not Chips Ahoy. That's why I asked you, have you changed? You're like, no, it's just a blue bag for me. So I'm assuming it's the same. But I've seen him get a Whopper plain.
Oh, boy.
Take the bun off, just eat the burger by itself.
There's a reason behind
that too, dude.
Reason behind that. When I order something, I don't want to taste the condiments as taking over the flavor of the meat. That's the whole reason behind that whole plain thing. Because a lot of times what I do now is I'll add that stuff because I know the amount I want on it. Too much, I don't want to bite into it and all I'm tasting is a ketchup and mustard. I want to be able to taste the meat. So
you'll put that on yourself.
Yes, there's a method to my madness.
Okay. It's good to know. It's good to know you've adapted. You've adapted as you've gotten older.
I've gotten older. My taste buds have matured, man. So
okay, that's what I was trying to kind of get at. I'm glad to know. So when you come out to go golfing, I can make you a burger.
What you got, J2K?
Cliff's gonna make you some cookies, Chips. He's gonna make his famous chocolate chip cookies. He'll be starting at about 1 a.m. before he goes and vacuums the lawn out for the weekend.
Don't you mean pork butt?
Hold on, I do want to address his question though. Have you guys had Wagyu steaks? If not, get one. I bought one, and Cliff, my cousin, who you bought the cookbook from, fucking destroyed it on his grill. He walked away from the grill. He's like, "Oh fuck, I forgot about the steaks."
We didn't get to J2Ks yet, man.
Destroyed it. I just wanted to answer his question. Go ahead, J2K.
Well, I'm going to answer this question a little bit differently than all you guys. Some of you guys know that I'm a long-distance hiker. I really enjoy long-distance hiking. We talk about food a lot when you're on trail. After you're gone for 2-3 weeks with just the food in your backpack, the thing that I craved the most was fresh fruit. An apple, an orange, a peach, a tangerine, a strawberry.
It's true.
That's good.
You're pumping your gut full of shit. That's what you crave when you're like actually.
I do that without hiking, J2K. I do that when I wake up in the morning and I crave strawberries and
raisins. Yeah. It's the best thing in the world, in my opinion. Just really good, fresh fruit.
I can agree with that. I have 2 apples every morning on my way to work.
2 apples. Keep the doctor away.
Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries every morning. Every morning.
Do you know why that's why, PJ? Why an apple a day keeps the doctor away?
The gas.
There's a small trace of arsenic in every apple because it's in the seeds. So if you actually ate the entire apple with the seeds, you probably would be even more healthier because you'd be killing the bacteria with that a little bit more trace of arsenic. So I think that's what they mean by that is the.
I thought it because apples gave you gas and you would fart so hard and get the doctor out of there.
Quick PSA: don't take Dan's advice on eating the seeds.
No.
PSA announcement to all kids out there: Do not dry
Those were the guy
the
that
seeds,
ate
crush
the
them
entire
up,
apple.
put them in your smoothie.
He ate the entire apple every day.
I will
Do
say
not try this at home.
I will say when I was in the army back in 1949, right. But anyway, when we used to go on our what we call our route march, and we'd be out in the field for a while. Yeah, fruit is the best thing. Unfortunately, they gave us what they called MREs, meals ready to eat.
Oh.
Nastiest thing in the world, but man, golly, I crave some fruit. All right, what's next? What was that question you said Cliff had, Shorty?
The next question?
Yeah, that you said Cliff had that you started to answer.
Let's see, where was it? I think
It
I
was
already
the
did.
Wagyu steak.
It was about the Wagyu. You guys ever had a Wagyu steak?
I've heard of them. I've never had one.
Start off with a Wagyu ground beef. Start off with that and make a burger. Literally just some salt and pepper and nothing. That's when I'm like you, Dave. Like I found myself just eating it, just absolutely nothing on it but a bun. Put a little bit of butter on it and put it on the grill, and just it was so fucking juicy that like you're halfway through it, even though it might be well done because I kind of overcooked the first one. It just oozed out with juice. It was so delicious.
Oh my God.
You can't go wrong with the ground beef.
Yeah, that's gonna be on the list this summer.
You can fuck up the steak though, because my cousin did do that. It's like a steak. It's okay though. I dropped his bong and broke it. Brand new bong, so I.
Payback.
Payback. Yeah.
Oh. I know that all too well. The broken bong. Oh.
Brand new bong too, but you know what? It was terrible. He couldn't possibly have cleaned the thing. It was way too many chambers and stuff. You know, it needed to be broken.
Okay.
He needed a new one.
This got complicated, huh?
Doug Van Dorn, I do know you can order Wagyu steak online. It's incredibly expensive, but oh man, you can also get it at Costco and Walmart has it now. I don't shop at Walmart, but because that place is too nuts. But I do know they have Wagyu beef there, and I will go there for Wagyu beef. So,
I miss kids in the chat. Hey kids, I don't know if you're still
up,
out there or
kids?
not. I'm behind here.
Yeah, Matt's still here.
Oh, what's up, kids?
Leo Factors joined us too. By the way, we haven't given him credit for joining us.
Mammy's still here.
Mammy's hanging out. Wow, Mammy's hanging out. Should we find out what Mammy thinks?
Stop right there, Shorty. You just can't say it like that. You just can't say it.
I want to hear about this bond.
Help me out, J2K. Help him out, man.
I missed it again, huh?
Man.
That's what happened to Mr. Shorty.
DJ.
I'm telling you, like, my mammy just hanging out. Like, bro, you can't say that about your mom, bro.
He's not used to us, man. He's still not used to us with this shit. But I want to find out about your mom's bong from the 70s. Sorry, PJ. I had to put that up because it just intrigued me. She still has her bong from the 70s. That's like 50 years ago almost, or 40 years
Oh, the thing is plastic with an aluminum slider. And it doesn't even have a slider. It has a carb on it. Terrible.
It's all shit. It's leftover shit from World War II, PJ.
Dude, it had like a velvet base to it.
Yep.
I remember that one. God, I got so sick from that thing.
Is it graphics? Is it graphics where you remove the bowl, Dan?
Yeah, you. No, you didn't even. It wasn't a slider. It had a carb on the back of it.
Yeah. Okay, you said that. Okay.
Hey, Dan. I thought you were going to say that she had an Avon cologne bottle bong, like it was in the shape of a car or something.
I just sent her a link. So
like this, Brian?
Yeah, there you go.
Did you see what the retro said?
Studebaker.
Wow.
Avon Studebaker.
Please.
Retro says in the chat, Mammy, that bong belongs in the Smithsonian.
Yeah. Archie Bunker's chair.
I just sent you a link, Mammy, if you want to come in and talk about your bong. Oh, man.
I think Foster's choking on your bong.
Doug Van Dorn says, I don't use bongs anymore. Where's that? I don't use bongs anymore. Too much bother keeping them clean. I just use glass well, glass pipes you have to keep clean too, but then he says, every few months I soak them in alcohol. They stay good as new. Okay, I should have read the whole thing first.
I was laughing so hard I swallowed smoke and now I got a stomach ache.
Oh no.
From Mammy's bong story.
You sure that was smoke that you swallowed?
Hey, you all heard that you get a collapsed lung from smoking a bong? Have you guys heard that?
I should have had 50 of them by now.
No.
Yeah, my brother was telling me this a couple of weeks ago because he really doesn't smoke a bong anymore because of that. I'm like, what?
Let's see. All right. So we have Mammy here. Mammy is going to join the show here. I should have had an opener ready for her, but Mammy.
What?
Mrs. Shorty.
Oh, I love you. I love you, my Mammy girl.
Hi, Mrs.
Oh, I love you, Mammy. Oh, I love you, Mammy.
Yeah.
Mammy,
I still have both my lungs, thankfully, from using that bong, but
well, that's good.
Danny doesn't even need a bong and he hacks up a lung.
I can't believe he survived all that.
Mammy, we always said the bigger the bong, the more it would work your lungs out. The better you could inhale and exhale. That was our logic.
No,
he seems to like to cough, and I don't. So,
well, that coughing is what gets you, right, guys? Come on, right, guys?
What, PJ? What were you saying, PJ?
I have nothing to say about you all of y'all bongs.
Chips, remember the 4-footer I had, and then we would put the other 2-footer on top of it?
I was just thinking that, man. It's so funny you just said that. Like,
that was insane. That thing was insane. Yeah, that thing was insane.
It was literally a 4-foot bong or dong. What was you guys talking about?
4-foot bong.
It wasn't a 4-foot. Well,
absolutely drinking that bong.
Not a 4-foot dong.
No, but we used to put whiskey in the bong.
Mm-hmm.
People would drink it.
Oh,
didn't that thing? Oh. Didn't it have a velvet base to it?
That's what I said in chat. Suede. Yeah.
Oh, suede. Yeah.
Not velvet. Yeah. It was brown suede.
That's right.
Not blue suede. Brown suede.
Your brown suede bong. That's a new song, right?
Well, the base was weighted, so you could stand it up, and it was full of little pebbles and rocks.
But it was like plastic that was like, it was like a
PVC tube, but clear.
Yeah, it was. Well,
I had the same one, Mammy.
I remember it not being too clear.
Did you? Mine was purple. Mine's purple. Purple with the suede bottom.
Mine was blue with the suede bottom.
Yeah. I think it's cracked now, though. I don't think it would work.
Graphics, though, where you pulled the whole bowl out after, instead of the carb. I had a graphics.
Yeah, that's what mine was initially, and then we drilled a hole in it. Got tired of lifting it with that little thing. We kept losing the bowls from taking it off.
They got so high they lost the bowl. How the hell does that happen?
Foster and PJ, if you've been around since Hallis started the team, then what does that make my mom? She's not even that much older than you guys.
Your mom's 39 and leave it alone.
There was a joke there, but I ain't gonna go there.
No, neither am
I ain't gonna go
Thank
there.
you.
Not at this present time, PJ.
So
hey, you guys gotta read Swift's comment to Doug. That was a pretty good one.
There's
Where's it at?
You see that?
Doug, I know much about politics as Don Burr does about football.
That's great. That's great.
There's a terrible one up there by Retro. He said he's the biggest prick here. Somewhere in there. Did you see that?
The only comment I have to say is, you guys ever watch Star Wars?
Yeah.
Never seen it.
I'm Star Trek fan.
So Shorty, you never heard when?
I'm kidding.
I'm just saying. Did you hear when Darth Vader told Luke Skywalker? I am your father.
Yes.
So to answer your question, what did I say about me being as old as your mom? I am your father.
Wow, is that why I'm so dark skinned?
That explains the patches.
That's another new nickname for you now, Shorty. Patches.
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 You got about 10 nicknames now, Scrody.
They just keep growing and growing and growing. Yeah.
That'll take you back. Patch. What is it? Patches and pockets and patches. Remember that?
Absolutely.
That was a while ago.
Pockets and passes?
No.
No, patches and pockets. No.
No.
Like a Pockets commercial or something?
It was a show back in the day, kind of like right around when Romper Room and Mr. Kangaroo. You don't remember any of these?
I remember those. Yeah.
Mr. Kangaroo, yeah.
Oh, I remember all those, but I don't remember Patches and Pockets. Was it a Chicagoland thing?
They were kind of like Raggedy Ann and Andy, but just like, I don't know.
No, God, I'd have to look it up to see if I recognize them, but Captain Kangaroo, yeah.
Yeah.
Captain
Bozo
Kangaroo.
Circus.
With his sideburns. Yeah.
Yes. And his bangs like Mo from the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
I just watched an old interview with Mo. I think it was Mike Douglas had Mo on the show. This is like 73, 74. And he was telling everything on that. It was only about 18 minutes. It's on YouTube. It was pretty interesting. I'm surprised I never saw it before, but he told a lot of stuff that I did not know about the Stooges, and I thought I knew a lot about them too. So it was very interesting.
Yeah, so they've done documentaries on them.
Mammy, since you're on the show, like, what do you think about Luke Getsy, our offensive coordinator?
What?
Yeah, Luke Getsy. What do you think he's going to do this year?
God bless you. I thought you sneezed. I didn't understand.
The Bears offensive coordinator. What do you think about Luke Getsy? How's he going to do this year? Are the Bears? Are they in good hands with him?
Don't know, but you know what I just watched?
The Great Gatsby?
No.
Yeah.
I'm excited to find out what you guys think about the winner of The Voice.
Oh boy, here we go.
Crickets. Where is Kitty when I need to cue the crickets? Come on. No, I just watched the Bears Down and Out about buying Arlington Park. You guys watch that? Have you guys seen that?
No.
Look it up. It's really interesting. It tells all the money facts and about what asshole Chicago has been to the Bears and everything. But you all know that.
But who won the Voice?
District.
Yeah.
Who won the Voice?
Who won the Voice?
Yeah.
It was
The guy from
Gina.
Hawaii? Oh.
No, Gina, the little one with the really soft voice. You couldn't understand her, but she sang like crazy.
Oh yeah, I've never even watched The Voice this year. I
missed it.
Danny watched it when he was here with me because I watch it, and it was the girl that won is the one that he liked. So
she got me into The Masked Singer. I don't watch it. I just watch it with her when I'm visiting. But I was like, "Is The Masked Singer on tonight?"
It's over. That singer's over.
Yeah.
I was
awesome.
I was certain that was who did we think that was Ed Sheeran on that one song. I was certain of it.
Yeah, he's saying it just like Ed Sheeran. Yeah.
I mean, I seen something where like a Hawaiian guy won the thing. I mean,
No, he didn't win.
he didn't.
No, he was on this season. That's well, actually, he's on American Idol right now. That's still running. They haven't had the winner yet. I don't
Is
think.
it the one with Howie Mandel?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
No.
All right. That's enough talk about that.
Howie Mandel is AGT. Howie Mandel and
Got Talent.
yeah, that's AGT.
Okay.
American Idol has Lionel Richie and Luke Bryant
Yeah.
and Katy Perry.
Yeah, I haven't watched none of those. I mean, I just seen them like when I'm passing through YouTube. I seen some of that, and I thought there was a clip where I seen the Hawaiian guy won something. You can see some.
All right, that's it. You guys are out of here. Jesus. Oh. So back to the Bears, guys.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, let's throw this up there real quick.
Oh, very fucking funny.
See what happens, man. See what happens when
that's what the typical child does when their parents talking.
Hey,
yeah, exactly. Right? The naughty little boy in the corner, right?
Shit, come on.
Hey, I tried to bring up Bears because I watched that show and it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know that they need $5 billion to build that place?
Oh, yeah.
$5 billion.
How much are they?
Because they want to build it like SoFi.
Yeah,
they want it to be like SoFi. It has to be like SoFi, or they'll never make it.
I agree.
What's going on here right now, guys? I told you should be spitting out knowledge one day. I didn't expect it to be this.
Throws for a curveball, man.
That's Dan. That's you going around underestimating your mother and overestimating the Bears last year. It's just it's a normal cycle of you.
I thought the
and they also owe a heck of a lot more than I thought.
It'll be like 80-something million.
What will be 80 million?
They will owe the Park District in back payment or prorated payment like 80-something million, right, guys? Is it 70-something million? 80-something million. Swifty, I'm sure you know.
Right now, what's owed on the stadium is more than was actually put into it. It's like $365 million that's still owed.
That's a joke.
But when they start building in Arlington Heights, that place won't be ready for a minimum of 10 years.
But the Bears don't owe that money because the Park District.
The Bears have a lease until 2033 that they have to pay.
Right, so they have to pay the prorated rate until then.
Right.
So the lease is up in 2033. Okay, I thought it was up before then. Okay.
I thought it was too.
No,
We have to
2033.
this is Mammy here. We have to fact check.
I just watched the thing yesterday. Oh. Yeah, 2033.
10 more years. Wasn't it a 20-year lease?
Bears, man.
I'm just saying.
Well, it was more than that because when did they build the place?
Holy shit, she's right.
No, they built the place in the early 1900s, but the Bears didn't move in until 1970.
No, but I mean when they rebuilt. When they rebuilt.
When they went down to Southern 2005.
That was when Daley was mayor.
Yeah, we were.
He's the one who signed the paperwork.
Wasn't that 2003?
I believe. So it was before 2011.
Yeah, that was 2003, wasn't it?
It's a horrible rebuild.
That was awful.
Yeah.
Don't even own the stadium. Like, what the hell?
And then
where was the fan base going? What the fuck at the time,
And also, Soldier Field lost its historic landmark designation. So one day that place is going to be torn down to the ground anyways.
Yep.
Just because it doesn't have.
Well, they're saying there's no way that they'll be able to make enough money to cover what the mortgage payment is on it. So it'll just go dead. It'll go dormant. They're saying no way without the Bears there.
Mm-hmm.
Lightfoot waited way too long to approach the Bears or even to respond to any of their letters. She was just a witch about the whole thing.
Look at this, guys. Yeah, you're right. Joe Foster.
Does that surprise you?
Look at this, guys. Look at this, guys. I'm waiting. No, now I forgot what that guy was going to say.
I know, right? Right? I was waiting too. Look at what?
Freaking shorty. I'm
ways
boosting myself.
But I was surprised that it's $5 billion that they need to come up with, and they can come up with like 300 million coming from the NFL, 350, something like that. 100 million or maybe a little more coming from the actual Bears, and they're talking 500 million coming from the people who buy tickets and have box seats and all that, because that will be non-transferable. So everybody will have to buy all those again.
Oh,
That's
wow.
going to raise some hell.
Yeah.
Anybody who owns any booths or box seats.
They screwed everybody when they moved to United Center. We used to have boxes for the hockey, like third, fourth row, and they moved this way to fuck up. So we had them from my uncle had them from 1957. He's like, fuck you. Because they jacked up the prices and moved this 30 rows back. What a joke. And you got a fan that was buying tickets since 1957 all the way to whenever they moved to United Center, whenever that was.
I have friends that Dan DeStefano's, you've used their tickets. Same thing. He's had the same seats for ever and ever. And those are non-transferable. You're going to have to rebuy them. And probably no guarantee that you're going to get the same seating. Crazy. But still, that doesn't come close to $5 billion.
So the Dolphins game that I took Dan and Aldo to last year, that's on my buddy his dad had those tickets because of his business, and he inherited them when his parents passed. 6
That's
seats
why Paul has them. Yeah.
on the 3-yard line, and I can't even imagine what that costs him per year. So now he has to rebuy that PSL. So he has to have a new chance at the new stadium to purchase that PSL. That's ridiculous. Everyone should be grandfathered in that has tickets.
I agree, and so does probably everybody who has tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're going to raise the price on the PSL. So if they're $5,000 a seat, they'll probably make it $8,000 a seat.
That'll be more.
Well, the Bears will, because they're trying to make up $5 billion to build a place.
What is the taxpayer? What is that going to come out of the taxpayer's ass too? How much of that,
Well, they're saying that Arlington Heights is saying they're not putting a penny in. So they have to come with all their money.
From what I understood about Arlington Heights, Chicago said that the Bears said that if they were to build around the stadium, like that whole development of hotels and restaurants,
Well, they have to, yeah. They have to.
That was their part of the deal.
Well, they'll make the taxes on the properties, but that will go back into the Bears. Somehow it goes back to the Bears. So it's like they're going to be paying out money that they never had in the first place. It's like a gimme, So they're going to be building a whole, just like SoFi, with hotels and retail and shops, so that can be open 365 days a year making money, because they can't make up $5 billion just on Bears games that are there how many times a year,
True.
Well, I think the biggest thing with SoFi, though, was the owner was the one that paid for that.
Every penny.
Not the community, the owner.
Right.
Right.
And that was the deal with the mayor of Inglewood, was that he was like, nope, we're not paying a penny.
I thought the Bears was looking to try to build a stadium more like the Minnesota Vikings.
No, they want to build another SoFi, from all of the information that I just watched. So who knows? Things change. It's not going to happen for 10 years. So
right.
So if
More
the
like
Bears, the Bears was to start building, when would be the soonest that they would actually move into the stadium?
I'm going to
not
guess
for 10 years. They're saying
No,
they have to build everything around to start getting the income, because they have to make up money somewhere. They
wouldn't be able to move there until, you said 2033, right?
That's when their leases.
So So that's not going to happen until then because they're
Well,
still
that's
going to
when
be paying.
their lease is up, right? So they
They're going to
can't
be
pay it.
paying for that. They're going to be paying for that until then. And they're like, how are they going to make that money if they're not there? You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. That's the whole thing about raising money. So
Yeah.
I remember reading that they had like a buyout, for whatever the remaining prorated was, and it was something like 80 something million, which in the whole grand scheme of things would just be part of in my mind, I thought part of the entire package of the whole move altogether with. So maybe I'm wrong on that. I expected like 3 to 4 years tops, not 10. Shit, all of us could be dead by then.
one why in Indiana people love to gamble. If the Bears build a nice casino, they want it. They're going to put a casino.
Yeah, they're
They're
smart.
going to have betting. Anyway, yeah.
Absolutely, they have to. Going to have
Hey,
everything.
PJ, I think the main thing that you were talking about with the Minnesota Vikings stadium was because their new GM was the main person that was responsible for the Vikings stadium. He
Yeah,
was
the
the
new
one
president.
that got that going. So
Yeah, the
then
new
that was,
president.
yeah, he was the GM, or yeah, was it GM? No, yeah, he was like
He was in
the
the front
president.
office.
Yeah, he was in the front office. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah, and he was the one that got that stadium up and running. So then other people were comparing what he did with Minnesota. Well, he's going to at least do that in Chicago because of how good that stadium is in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Phil. Cliff got another question for you guys, starting with Shorty. Why do you guys think the Chicago race is so important now? Looking for an alternatives to the Bears.
Why do I think that the Chicago race is so important now?
Yeah, I guess their mayoral race. I think that's what he's referring to, in order to build the stadium or try to build a stadium. Am I right there, Cliff? You're talking about the mayoral.
Yeah, I don't understand the question
Me either.
either.
Mayoral.
Sorry, Cliff.
Is it
Need to be
that,
a
or
little
is he
clearer,
talking
I
about
guess.
bringing another team to Chicago,
Why
looking
do you
for
think-
alternative to Bears? And I
Uh,
would say,
I don't know what Chicago's going to do with that property. There's, like I said, there's no way that they can.
20 concerts wouldn't do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. He
No.
said the car race. I mean the car
Mhm.
race is coming up.
There's only 9 Bears games there. Why wouldn't 15 or 20 concerts do it?
Oh, that got into
Oh,
the NCAA tournament.
yeah.
Well, a lot of it has to do with just where it's at in general, with the parking, with the all of that. I mean, anybody who's ever gone to a Bears game knows that. I mean, you're tailgating a mile away from the damn stadium, and then you got to get there in time for the game. You know.
I love it.
Over $5
It's
million.
Oh no, never been.
You guys are forgetting the
He
team
means
is
the
worth over
auto
$5 billion.
race.
No, they're worth like 4.5 billion.
Cliff means the NASCAR race. He said the auto race, the car race.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
racing
Yeah.
cars there now.
All it's
I
creating
don't know
is
if they'd bring that actually into the city like that.
Well, they're doing that in Vegas. They're like racing around. They're going down like the main strip of Vegas in Formula One cars. Are they doing that in Chicago now? Is that what you're talking about?
yeah. They're going to be open by like July 1st and 2nd. NASCAR is going to be down there, and right now all it's created is just a clusterfuck of traffic because they closed off so much shit roads down there for this race.
What?
Cliff says yes, NASCAR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NASCAR or Formula One? Because
NASCAR.
Formula One is in. Okay, so what happens when you crash into a building?
Oh, they'll have barriers, man. There's no way a car is going to freaking touch a building, man.
Yeah, they aren't going to allow that racing in the streets. It would have to be in the stadium, and then they'd have to spend another $1 billion, trying to reconfigure that.
Wow.
There's racing in the streets downtown every day. It's on the news.
Yeah, illegally.
Well, in that case, let's go ahead and sign up for it there, Foster.
Hey, I've done 100 driving down LaSalle downtown. I've done 100 miles an hour. Kid you not.
Well, when the
Don't know
when the
how I got
Bears
away with
move
it,
out
but I
of
did
that,
it.
On a horse?
when the Bears
Oh.
Fuck you.
All right,
when the
Bill,
Bears move out of
you
that,
out of here, man. I'm just saying, you out of here.
I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
when the Bears move out of that stadium, I would have thought they would have had that as like more of like what do I want to say? Like a venue for like concerts and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like bring in
Well, that's what they're saying. That was the original thought. They said concerts and
Yeah.
plays and things. You can't do a play there because there's no dome.
no.
Again, Lightfoot waited until the Bears already had, said no. You haven't responded to us, so don't even bother responding now. We're done with you. And she said, "Well, we'll put a $2 billion dome on it for you." Too little, too late. She wants to do that now. It's not for the Bears anymore. It's just to bring in, try and bring in income there.
She's not the Bear anymore.
To put a dome on that seems like a Band-Aid more than anything.
Exactly. And the Bears knew it. That's why they laughed at it.
Yeah. I'll
And
park
then,
my
and then
Porsche
along
next to my mobile home.
with that whole thing that I was saying about concerts, it would only be you'd only be available for how much of the season? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, right. Because it's outdoors. So without putting that dome on it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they say that a dome that opened, a permanent dome is, of course, cheaper than one that opens like for the season.
Yep.
So you're talking like $1 billion to $3 or $4 billion for one that opens.
Leo Fector says, we're the founding franchise of the NFL with a rabid, loyal fan base. Make it the best stadium in the league. Period.
That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. That's why it's going to be $5 billion.
We've got Mammy on here talking about the freaking Bears. Come on, that's the great point, Leo. So
yeah, I was going to mention when I was on at the very beginning, like we were talking about how everybody got from all over got hooked on the Bears. The Bears have like this following of fans wherever they go. Like they pack the stadiums just as much or more than most of the home fans. I don't know if you heard that.
Well, they're one of the original. The Bears are one of the first, and there's only 2 teams left from the original teams that were created when Hallis put it all together in the beginning, and Bears is one of them. I can't remember what the other one is.
The Bears and the Cardinals.
The Cardinals is that it? Yeah,
They were both,
the Arizona Cardinals.
Chicago.
That's it. Yeah.
And the Cardinals are the
Arizona
oldest
Cardinals.
franchise ever.
Yeah.
It is 10:57 in Chicago, Shorty.
yes, it is. I do have a deal with. Although the show started at 9:05, so we technically have until we have 13 minutes left as far as the broadcast is concerned. But
mess yourself up.
no, I know what you're saying. Though it's like
technically you got 8
But
minutes
it's
left.
like bedtime for some of us. So
yeah. All right, Mammy.
All right, guys.
You want to give your piece
It was a sweetness.
Oh wait,
Have a good week, y'all.
Hold on, I have to do this correctly. Hold on.
Thanks,
Wait, do
Mama.
it again. There you go. Don't forget your peace out.
Peace out.
Goodness.
All right. Love you, Mammy.
Have a good week, y'all.
We'll see you next week.
Who's your mammy?
That's my mammy right there.
That was awesome. And it's good to see your mom. I hadn't seen her in a minute.
She, my mom's nickname for Chips Ahoy Boy is "Damn it."
Yes.
Somehow,
like right there when she would say it.
Yeah, she'd always turn around and drop something, and be like, "Damn it!" She'd turn around and he'd be standing right there. So it was always "Damn it" to her. Every time I say "Damn it," he's right there.
I got a question for you guys. Shorty and Chips Ahoy Boy, how long you guys been friends?
Oh gosh, I would say 6th grade in Miss Gruber's class.
Oh geez, yeah.
That's where we started, man.
Silent ball.
Yep, beating my ass in silent ball, you fucker.
Yeah.
Let's not fight about it now, guys.
Our teacher she'd pause the class and she'd have a Nerf ball, and she'd have a big coffee can full of candy, and whoever won would get
gummy bears. Man, were the ones.
Yeah, everyone wanted the big cinnamon gummy bear. So we would just pause and we would start off with a Nerf ball, and we'd just throw it around and catch it both hands, and then somebody would drop it and you'd be out. Eventually it'd go to one hand, and then it'd go to like the opposite hand, and then it would come down to a winner.
Yep.
So
and you couldn't
beat you a couple of times.
You said anything, you're eliminated too. That's why they call it down ball.
Yes. You couldn't talk either, right? You couldn't be like, you were out.
Yep.
Yeah.
You couldn't make a sound.
I did not know that was damn it.
Damn it. Oh, you didn't know that was damn it, Mammy?
No, that's what she says.
Yeah.
I thought my name was God damn it for about 7 years because my dad would go, my brother was Jesus Christ too, because he'd go, God damn it, Jesus Christ, get in there.
Oh my goodness.
So before we sign off, J2K, what's going on in your world? When are you going to be able to come back and join us again? What do you think?
That's a good question, Dan. I know that I can be in the chat. I just don't know if StreamYard's going to work on just regular cell phone service.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually think that maybe in a week or two or something, maybe you and I can just try something on StreamYard just to see if I can even hook up with you guys.
Sure.
Just something offline.
Okay.
But the plan is that I've got my first month pretty much figured out, and that's about it. I've got a rough idea of where I'm going after that, but yeah, it'll be exciting. It'll be fun.
I cannot wait to hear about your adventures, and it's been great having you. I mean, you've been on BCP since the very beginning. You've helped kind of facilitate this whole thing, beta testing it with new chat guests and stuff, and I appreciate you so much for that. And then boom, you were on with the draft, and then you've just kind of been on every time since the draft, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, the draft was really fun. I have to admit, I to be honest with you guys, a little apprehensive doing a podcast, being live on air, just something that never really interested me. I mean, you guys all do such a good job of it, and I'm really impressed. For me, once we started just talking football, all that kind of went away, and just sitting with you guys talking over the draft weekend. That's one of my most favorite times of the year in football, and to have the opportunity to do it with you guys, I couldn't thank you guys enough. It was so much fun. And I'm looking forward to talking to you guys again, and we'll just kind of see how it goes, play it by ear, and I'll see you guys in the chat. I'll say what's up, and I'll be around, but doing the live thing, we'll see what happens.
Well, it'll be great to have you back again, J2K. You're always welcome on BCP. You are part of the BCP family, and we can't wait to talk to you again when you're ready to talk. So that'll be awesome. Seriously, Bryan, thanks for reaching out, coming on to join the show tonight. Spectacular job for a first time. Excellent. Appreciate you, man. You're part of the BCP family now too. Bryan, give me your best. You done with BCP?
You done with BCP?
Excellent.
Oh, me.
All right, so now it's your turn now, Chips Ahoy boy.
Yes, sir.
Your best one.
You done with BCP?
Excellent. I'm going to add that to the opener. It'll be a collage of all of our guests.
Any party collage of a blank screen?
What's that?
How are you gonna have a collage of a blank
No,
screen?
I add everyone's version of that to the audio for the opener.
Yeah, at least got to give him an avatar or something.
Just the voice.
It's just the voice in the end part when there's a collaborative of everyone going. Yeah, we gotta get Swifties in there too. But any last parting words, guys? Anything you want to say, Bryan Foster?
Yeah, sure. It's been a pleasure being on, and I really wish this what's happening now with the NFC North. What's happening this year was next year, because I feel like we're gonna, as much as we're gonna be good this year, we're gonna be even that much more better next year. I feel like they'll be drafting that, like how they doubled up on defensive tackles, doubled up on corners. Well, they're going to double up on defensive ends, and that's when we're going to see like a better team than what we are now.
100% agree. Foster, parting words?
Thanks. I love what Mammy said, because it's you didn't do me. Everybody sleep well on that tonight. Thanks everybody for being in the chat. Everybody on the show. I've had a rough week, so this was a great mind deterrent for me. I want to thank everybody. You guys don't know how much I needed this today, man. You don't know. So
appreciate you, Foster.
Everyone, and I'm just grateful to be on here with you guys, man. Thanks.
Chips Ahoy, any last parting words?
Can it be anything?
Yeah.
Became a great uncle 2 weeks ago. Going to see him this weekend. Thanks for letting me hop on real quick. Love you guys, man. You guys are awesome.
You're welcome anytime, my friend. Just let me know. PJ, parting words?
Yes. I am your father.
That being said, we will see you guys next week, Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Please make sure to like, subscribe, set your notifications, because we're going to be having some fun here on BCP. We will see you guys next week. Until then, Bears.
Bears.
Bears.